What's up, guys? Luca here. Luca Teal. Yes, the Ashen one, the Ashen Lucario, the AshenLuca. It's me. I'm here with another episode of the show. Today I'm joined by Slomo and Singer as per usual. And Nautical may or may not join later on. I don't know. I might have a guest coming through. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just here. But we have a lot of interesting topics to discuss today. Some of them more interesting than others. I have a question to pose to the boys, so I'm very curious about their perspective on that when we get to it. And yeah, it's just been a crazy week in gaming. Some misinformation may or may not have been uh released. I don't know. I never really know what's going on anymore. I try to keep up, but ever since Elon bought Twitter, it's just been a hot mess and nothing has gone right on that app. I can't even find old tweets anymore. Search button, it's not even viable anymore. It sucks, you know what I'm saying? So but anyway, what's up, Singer?
What up, Luca? How's it going?
I'm here, alive, unfortunately. And Slomo?
No. That's good. That's good. You're alive.
Hi, can you hear my heater?
No, can you hear my fan?
No.
Okay, we're good to go.
Sound cancellation for the win.
I know that is right. Audio Technica. Let's go. So
I'm good. I'm good. You know,
enjoying your pizza, right?
I mean, not at the moment,
Oh, okay.
but I won't
Just like
lie to
generally
you like Forte. You know, Forte would be like, I'm not eating anything.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like, come on, bro. Like, we can hear it. Come on. Like, yeah.
That's true. You're very, very true. I mean, you're very right on that. So, yeah, let me go ahead and pull my thing up. What's up, JT? The artist, mass-produced. TZ was goody. Except I'm not playing Fallout 76, JT. It's just not happening, buddy. I'm sorry to say. I have no interest in it. Yeah, it's just not happening, dude. I'm sorry.
As you shouldn't.
Unfortunately, I'm not someone who will play games at random anymore. I just don't have the energy for it. You know, when you should have caught me during the younger years, during when I first joined the community. I was playing with everyone. I was playing anything and everything, and I was playing with anyone and everyone, and now I have no energy.
Hey,
So
Luca, I do have a recommendation for you.
sure.
Shout out to Slomo streaming it earlier. The Final Descendant.
Yeah, I think Slomo told me about that.
Oh, it is. You know how you like your games, your characters in games.
Half naked? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, pretty, right?
Just kidding. I'm joking.
It's the first Descendant, and yes, Singer is in love with like every female character that you can get in the game.
I mean, it's like Stella Yams, but a looter shooter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a good time. You know, it's just go on Steam and download it. It's free to play. I mean, it's gonna be free to play when it officially launches later this summer. But it's free. It's the final technical test right now, and you can play it today and tomorrow. So,
yeah. So it might be worth a look at, because I'm definitely playing that game.
I was cracking up earlier. Him and Gregor were killing me. It was good. Okay. It was a good stream though. It was good fun.
That's good. Well, what's up, Nola? What's up, Crow? How you doing? Hope you're doing well, buddy. What's up, Brisky? Spider-Man, Corey was good. Mike, Spider, yeah. How y'all doing today? It is another bright and early Sunday. Wait, Saturday. It's a bright and early Saturday. And yeah, man, let's talk about Hellblade. First of all, by let's, I mean Slomo can talk about it because Singer and I did not play this game. So
really, Singer, you ain't play Hellblade?
It's not his type of game.
I stand on business.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. At least you're not capping. That's all right. Hellblade 2 came out. It's got 81 on Metacritic, which is the same Metacritic score it got for the previous game. But you know, unless you know you're really like into this console war stuff or you're a developer, you don't really give a damn about Metacritic. My thoughts on the game: I beat it yesterday. Took me about 10.5 hours, and that was in. I think it was a little bit longer
for a 5-hour game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, see, I know. You are doing what everyone does when they find out someone played it for longer than 6 hours. But it took me 10 hours because I was stopping and doing in photo mode, doing screenshots for a long time. Like I was just like zooming around and everything. It was a lot. That's it. The game, in my opinion, is a better game than the first game. Definitely better on the visuals front, even though the first one wasn't ugly, but like this one definitely, as far as like photorealism goes, for that kind of particular art direction, this is the best looking photorealistic game I've ever seen. Story wise, I think the story is better in the sequel than the first game. In the first game, it's like 95% of the time it's Senua arguing with them damn voices. And it's like you got like these little like lore stones that are like audio logs in a way, and it's like FMV, some weird person talking in a very like it don't make a lot of sense, but you do get it, you get to figure it out, but it's like it ain't all that. It's an okay story, it's decent, it's cool, it's whatever. This one's I think a bit better because Senua has companions with her, and they have their own motivations for being there. A lot of the dialogue that happens in cutscenes are like Senua not even involved. She just kind of sitting on the side while two people are arguing. You know, it's a more engaging story that way. I did enjoy the story overall, and sound design, like the sound design of the first game was excellent, but this one kind of expands upon that. You definitely got to play it with headphones. You don't play it with headphones, you just basically, what are you doing? You're just kind of wasting your time there. So all that stuff is good. For some of the negatives here, I'm going to say there's some decisions that were made just, I wouldn't say narratively, but like there's some choices that were just like, why is this here? I don't know why this is here. The ending, the way it ended, it just kind of just ended. And I kind of wish they would have had a little bit like maybe like an epilogue, not necessarily like a more traditional epilogue, but at least a little bit of like closure with some of your companions as you finish the game. Whatever, I would have preferred that, but that's not there. Combat. So what Ninja Theory did was they decided to be more cinematic with the combat, which does work. I think the execution of that does work. It is more cinematic. It is like with the way the drums will play when you're fighting. It really kind of like helps you like lock in and zoom into what's going on in the combat. A bit different than the first game, because in the first game you would be attacked by more than one enemy, and you did have a melee attack, and you did have, I would say, it's been a while since I played the first game, but I felt like you had more mobility in how you move. But in this one, is more one-on-one action, and it's far more brutal, and there's far more like they have like these fight engagements where it's like you kill a person and then like someone literally throws a villager at you. And the villager knocks you down, you get up and you're fighting somebody else. Or, like you'll be fighting someone and then someone else will come by and try to attack them and they'll get decapitated or something. Then you keep fighting. It's like, it's really like, it's very like, I not say choreographed, but it's very cinematic in that aspect. That said, I wish they would have went a little bit further with the combat than what's there. I feel like I may have throughout the entire game died one time. And it's like, it's not that like I was just like, I'm just murdering everything. But, I would take damage, I would get hit. But when you see the enemy's weapon flash white, the block. You see it flash red, the dodge. It's pretty simple in that aspect, and I understand like Stellar Blade also has that, but then Stellar Blade also has like where as you play longer, you are developing more skills, more abilities, to the point where it's still challenging, and yet also you have all this stuff in your repertoire, and you don't really get that with Hellblade. Back to the characters. One character in particular, there's only 6 chapters in the game. One character does not get introduced until like the 5th chapter. And so it's just like, although that it's good that you have this cast of characters, like this one is so introduced so late in the game that it's just like, well, I don't really care about you, you know? All that said, I think it's a good title. I think if you like the first game, then you would like this game. I think they improved in multiple areas compared to the first game. It's just that I think there are some, for those who are being honest with themselves about the title, there are some aspects of the game that could have been better. The puzzles, they only had some of the old puzzles in the game, and they still suck. But then there is also new puzzles that there's 2 new like puzzles. One I really enjoyed doing. The other I didn't really care that much for. But and chapter 4 is way too long. Like that chapter 4 was probably like the length of the first 3 chapters, maybe the first 3 chapters all together. I don't know, it was pretty long. But yeah, that was it. I thought it was a good game. Enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure 3-Bits played it, right? 3-Bit?
What up? What up?
Yeah. Hey guys.
What's up, man?
Yeah, I beat it yesterday, day before yesterday, one of those. Great game, man. There's certain things I agree with you on a lot of those points actually. The puzzles was something that frustrated me in the first game, so I'm not going to be like, all of a sudden I'm not going to be annoyed in the second one. It annoyed me again here. some of them. I felt like because I played Hellblade 1 first, and Hellblade 2 like right next to each other. So it was pretty much a marathon from up until the release of Hellblade 2. And there were like the combat, when you were talking about the combat, I really liked how depending on where you lean, I don't know if you guys like realize that, like if you're leaning to the left or something, the animation might shift, or how she blocks there is technically different. If she's like already leaning left and then she blocks, and you can use that weight sort of momentum to hit a certain way, or I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, the in terms of the story, that was the biggest con for me. I wrote like a little review on my Twitter. That annoyed. There's certain plot elements where I thought Senua was like, I have to do this, and I want to go in this area, and I was just like, why? Because in the first game, it made sense. Like her motivation was very clear in the first game. Like she loved Dillion, and she wanted to bring him back. So you understood that. You're like, okay, I'm getting why she wants to move forward and stuff like that. With this one, it was like a little bit more unclear because she now has control of the voices. She is trying to empathize with others and find the darkness within other people. So that in itself is just like, it's a little bit more complex. So if you're not really paying attention, you're like, okay, well, she doesn't have to do this. I guess, I guess I understand. But yeah, I mean, that's how I felt anyways. I know there's different reasons of why she would want to do that. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the combat, I thought I didn't have a huge issue within the first one. So, it didn't bother me here. I thought it was pretty cool.
Did you play on dynamic, hard, medium? What did you play on?
I played on hard.
Okay.
So I feel like some people said that it does make somewhat of a difference if you play on hard or the other ones, but I haven't played on the other difficulties. So
okay, yeah, I played on dynamic because I wanted to, because this is kind of off. I normally would have just played on hard, but ever since like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had dynamic, and dynamic was actually like I would say well, you only had normal, easy, and dynamic, but dynamic was like way harder than normal, and so it's just I just wanted to kind of play on dynamic, and I guess I could have switched it to hard if I wanted a bit more of a challenge, but it wasn't like it's the part where these three devs were saying they wanted you to kind of feel like you were just barely getting by. Like I get that.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was just, huh?
You didn't get that, or
No. I did get that, but it's just like I just never felt like I may have only died one time out of the whole game, and I was just like, I didn't even realize it until like I was going into the final like boss fight that I hadn't died at all. Like only one time did I die, and it was mostly just because I was being stupid and not like really just locking in. But I always felt like every fight was like I just barely made it out of that, you know? So it was just still, but I didn't know whether that was just by design or whether it was just really me kind of just not really, because you know how like you play a game and you can just be styling on enemies. You know, you know,
you just screw them by eating chips while you're fighting.
Yeah, like in animes when you know like that one character in the anime he's just so much higher level than this other guy that he's not even like paying them much mind as he's just dodging attack. Like you could be locked in on a game like that and be just like I'm killing everything and everyone easily, but it's just like it's like not really like that. Although I would say probably in the 6th chapter. At the castle part, I was just murking everybody. I don't know, maybe it's just like things had just click like that well at that point where I was just destroying everyone, even the final boss. But combat was okay. Like I think there was a bit of disappointment that it wasn't, and maybe some people, and I know that people keep throwing out God of War. And I don't think I haven't seen anybody saying like they want Senua to be Kratos out here. Like I know people keep saying that, but I've never seen anyone say that. But I do think that people felt like they wanted the combat to be more fleshed out than what it was. And when people say that, I think they said what they're really meaning is that they wanted more of a not hand holding, but like let me know what I can actually do, because I'm seeing things after I beat the game that I didn't even know was in there. Like you can use the focus to catch spears and throw them back at people. I'm like, what? Yeah. I didn't know you could do that.
This game had no tutorial, by the way.
None.
You don't realize some things till like later in the game. Like, like I didn't realize where you lean depending on how you blocked, or if you're leaning left, you can basically have more force in your sword depending on however your character is positioned, which I didn't even realize till the very end of the game.
Yeah, and I didn't probably not until like the 5th or 6th chapter did I realize that like you could just basically when someone has a shield, you just keep battering them. You could just like stay aggressively focused and not give them an opportunity to attack back to break their block. Oh, I didn't know that until near the end of the game. I'm like, well, dang, I could have definitely used this information in chapter 2. I think chapter 2 is the village part. But it's just it's I think it's. I understand the people that feel like it's better combat than the first game, and I also understand the people who feel like it's not better than the first game. And the people who have said it's not better than the first game, they've been saying it based off of the things that they wish they still had in the first game, like the melee, like being attacked by more than one enemy at once. But then if you look at the direction they went with this, where it's more cinematic and it's more like, in a way, it's more visceral that way, but at the same time, there were times I was just like, you know, if they all just attacked her right now, the story would be over. You know, I don't know why y'all keep attacking her one by one, and she just keep dispatching y'all. Just like, you know.
Yeah, there's a balance between, I guess, where you're trying to you have a game, right? But then you're also trying to have like this like experience, like where if you have like 5 people attack at once, like I always question that in movies sometimes, like why don't they all just attack him right now? And
Yeah. It's just like it seems logical that you're all going to die if you keep doing what you're doing right now, but they keep doing it. Or and this is something I said this to someone who was playing the game, and I know they were already past this part, and I had just came to this part in chapter 4, and I was just like, it deals with the sword. You know what I'm talking about, 3-bit, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, so this entire part was pointless. And I'm just like, because if you think about it, like in the grand scheme of things, if I'm trying to say it without spoiling things, but just like it's like if she didn't make that choice at the end, like it doesn't matter. Like
I honestly I thought the same thing. I was like, well, if she kept it, she would have been good still, right?
Exactly. So why is it that? And so I said this to someone, and they were just like, "Come on, Slow-Mo, you gotta understand. It's a psychological thing for her." I'm like, "No, it's stupid. They should just not."
I get what they're doing. They're going for this like sacrifice brings you like some reward. I don't know.
But she got no reward afterwards. She just and that's the thing. Like I would have been cool if it was like she would have got her weapon would have got a buff afterwards, or if the player had the choice, it's like, here's your choice. What are you going to do with the sword? And you're just like, man, forget you. Then you just never know what you could have got, or we know what you could have gained. But if you decide to make that, like, take that faith, that little, jump of faith or whatever, you get rewarded for it. But like maybe like your sword can do more damage and you can dispatch enemies faster,
which they kind of did in the first. Like in the first one, they had this.
Yes. Yep.
That sword be buffed because you found that special sword from that one place. I can't remember.
Right. And that could have been their moment to do it in this game, but instead it was just like. And it's just little things that just didn't. I talked to someone else about the choice in chapter 5, and it was just like we actually had different choices, and so I was fascinated. I was just like, so what happened? And they're just like, nothing. And he's like, so what happened with you? Oh, nothing. So what was the point of the choice? So it's just like little things like that. Like I enjoyed the story, and I think it was better than the first game story, but at the same time, I'm just like. Or these things that like y'all were like thinking of doing and you wanted to go take it further, but you didn't have enough time or what? I don't know. It's just very, very strange.
In terms of like you just feeling like you're barely surviving. I thought that was really awesome in this game. Like if you look at the documentary, they were talking about looking at the Game of Thrones episode, the Battle of the Bastards.
With Jon Snow. Yeah, bearing down against the whole army by himself. Yeah,
and you feel. I mean, you feel that here. Like even like you said, you only died once, but you still felt like.
Yeah, I just felt like every single fight, like I just barely made it out of there at the skin of my teeth. Yeah,
design wise, I have to give credit to them for that. Like that was pretty cool. That like you are feeling like you are just surviving, even though you're pretty much wrecking everybody. And there's story elements like you mentioned, like if I just left the sword or if I just kept the sword and then continued with the room, it would have been the same sort of result. So I don't know. There's little things in there where I like, okay, that Senua, did you have to do that? Like, but overall, I thought it was a lot more ambitious where they went with the story. Like you actually have more characters here. Like in the first game, you interacted with yourself, your voices, and everybody else that you saw, you had to kill. For the most part. I mean, you had some visions of other people and things like that, but you are actually talking with other people in the second one, which is cool. I just at times I was struggling with like her motivation to and it's more so what they ended up doing, I guess, is she's remembering things in the past and things that she doesn't want to happen to other people she is reflecting that with or things that happen to her, she doesn't want to happen to other people. And there's like darkness that she sees. I mean, she has some abilities, it seems like, where she can sense the darkness in other people, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, there's a certain plot devices where I was like, okay, you didn't have to do this, or you didn't have to go in there, et cetera, et cetera. But it didn't bother me to the point where I was just like, this story is awful. I just, as I was playing, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It's also kind of difficult to tell what was real and what was in her head. So like you see certain things, and when she's going up against giants, and you think you know what's happening, but then it's like she kind of comes out of it, and then her companions are just kind of just staring at her like, okay, she's finally back. And it's just like, so what was just happening there? Was she just kind of talking to herself and like kind of just staring off into in front of a tree, and they just waited for her to come back? Like, like
Yeah.
what is happening? But no, like I enjoyed the story. What's up, Forte?
What up, though?
Hey, Forte.
You finished it already?
Methodical.
No, I just got home.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm on the
so-
last chapter.
Oh,
Alright.
nice. Well, I want your impressions too, but before that, what's up, Iman, Stone King X, Blessed, General Spartan, Blue Moon, oh, Saber, hey, Cassie. Let's see here. Viper, how's it going, buddy? Lino, how's it going? Gregor, I saw you earlier. What's up, Patman? True Bleed, what's goody? What's up, y'all? What's up, Dorian? How are y'all doing tonight? I hope you guys are doing good. What's up, Dion? How's it going? Sending lots of love. Sending lots of love. Sending lots of love. Breesky, I think I got you. It's you and Spider-Man, I think. Yeah, no, I got all you guys. What's up, guys? What's up, Mass? It's not a bad game. It's more or less on par with the first. Only thing really improved is the graphic scope. Sweet. Mass, let me know if you want to come through or not. What's up, Meat Puppet? How's it going, buddy? So, Nautical, your impressions.
Oh, man. So that game, I ain't gonna lie. I love that game. I love the first one. After playing it and getting to where I am now, at first I was kind of feeling how everybody was feeling about the combat and stuff, like how they took some stuff away. But then as I was playing through chapter 4, I came across some stuff that I did not know you could actually do. And like one perfect example, when you're fighting against one of the enemies that breathe fire, if you get close enough to him when he does it, you'll do like a shoulder shrug, and you'll shove him into somebody that's in the background, and you'll see them push off, and then it will change out the order of the person that you're fighting against, so you can kind of get distance, and you can kind of gauge the combat the way you want to. Because at first I was sitting there like, wait a minute, was that just accident? So I like waiting for the opportunity to come up again. And as soon as the dude that does the fight, he does that animation where he throws it up in the air like he's drinking the what's the name. And then when he comes down, if you're close enough to him, you'll do an animation where you'll shove him, and he'll shove out of the way. And then it will basically switch out with somebody in the background. And then you can kind of pick your fights like the way that you kind of want to. And I was like, wait a minute. So you have some type of control over how these interactions go down with each character and stuff. And then when it comes to like certain abilities and stuff, like being able to counter other things that I didn't even know I could counter, like when they start throwing the dirt in your face and stuff like that, I was like, okay, is this like something that you can't get away from? Because it just seems like when they do it, it's like an automatic thing and you can't dodge out of the way and stuff. But it's like everything feels like it's kind of turned like how your character is positioned towards whatever act you're doing. So they actually added a little bit more depth to it. But it's just, the thing is, they didn't explain none of it. It's like no tutorials anywhere in this game. Like the moment you boot it up, there's no prompts on the screen. There's no climb this, hit A to climb this. It's none of that. It's completely a blank slate. And it's interesting to see that you just experience the game as you go through it. And the combat is the same way, because like when you're looking at it, it's like it seems like you're doing the same thing over and over again, but it's like the little minute things that you do, or the position that you're in, or the enemy you going up against. If you parry at the correct time, you can like parry objects and stuff. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, you can what? So it was really, really cool. Seeing stuff like that. And like I didn't start realizing that until I got to the fourth part of chapter 4, where they literally make you go through the gauntlet of everyday thing, taking this away, making you do the darkness and all this other crazy stuff. It was very surreal in that. Story-wise, I think the story is better than the first one. In my opinion, I think it's a little bit harder to make a person care about the overarching story that the game presents itself, because it's not about a singular focus like the first one was, where
Right,
you're
like the
basically
lover,
focused on her and her plight and trying to basically do what she wants to do to save, her lover and go against Hela and all this other stuff. So there was like a singular focus in the first one, where this was more overarching, and that's a harder thing to pull off. And I do think it kind of goes very, very slow and very, very methodic through the first couple of chapters. But then once you get out of the chapter, after chapter 3, going through chapter 4, once you get the other NPCs and you start seeing dialogue, conversations back and forth, not just with yourself, but with other characters inside the game, you start to get a little bit more deeper understanding of what they're trying to portray inside of the story. So being a person that hasn't finished it yet, and I think I'm like literally on the chapter or the chapter of the last act. So right towards the very end of it. I can say as of right now, I feel like the story definitely lives up to what it needs to live up to, but I still think there's things in the game that could have been done better. Like there's stuff that they didn't have to put in the game, stuff that they kind of made longer than it needed to be for the act of cinematic focus and stuff. But that was the creative freedom they went with. It sits at an 81 Metacritic. That's pretty much what the first one said it. I think the game in general is amazing. I think it's great. It's everything that you loved in the first one, but it gives you a little bit more of the high end, but it kind of chops off the bottom somewhere where it comes to a little bit more player control that you did have in the first one compared to this one. So food for thought for anybody that liked the game. I think in general, it's gonna be one of those games that's going to sweep up and win a bunch of awards when it comes to art direction, action, acting, mocap, sound design. Everything that's in the first game is in this one, and they kind of amped it up to 10 even more. And I'm just happy to be able to experience what I experienced up to this point. So that's kind of what my thoughts of playing it. And I was one of those people that jumped in right at 4 a.m. on the day it came out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was up. I just happened to be up, and I was in a party, and all the embargoes was going live at 3. Like I was up at 3 a.m. in a party with Cognito and they were talking about it. They said, the embargo goes up at 4 and the game comes out at 4. I was like, you know what? I'll stick up and try to play some of it that night. I ended up playing like 2.5 hours that night, knowing I had to work the next day. It was terrible. But I thoroughly enjoyed the time that I spent with the game so far.
Yeah.
Awesome. What a fantastic impressions from all of you, or technically reviews, right? From all of you. I really do appreciate hearing your guys' perspective, especially I can tell that all of you are very passionate about the game. I can tell that you guys actually played the game. You had a lot to say about it, and I really appreciate you coming through and sharing your perspective on everything. I did want to ask, though, I mean, do you feel like the game, it ended up landing in 81, right?
Yeah.
An 81, which is the same as the first Hellblade. Do you feel like that score is deserved? Are you disappointed about the score? Are you surprised about the score? Like, what are you guys, like, what are your thoughts on how the game ended up landing and how it's just exactly the same as Hellblade 1?
I feel like if you like the first one, then you'll like the second one. Like the combat to me, like it didn't bother me as much as some other people. Like in the first game, I it didn't bother me as much in the first game. Like I remember that being a point of contention for a lot of people. Like I didn't like the combat, or that was too simplified. Like what some people on the panel were saying here, I think the second one, I feel like it needs a tutorial. There's certain things
Yeah.
I was discovering
Yeah.
way too late. I was like, oh, I wish I knew this in the beginning, or I wish if I knew I could lean this way or do this thing. So it's like complex in a way. But yeah, that's the main thing people complain about. But in terms of the reviews, I don't think it's for the people who were saying like, wow, Hellblade 1 is amazing, and then same people who do that review do the second one like, wow, it's trash now. That to me is a little bit I mean, it's possible to have that review for sure, but I feel like that's a little bit disingenuous, especially if you're process that like, oh, it's owned by Xbox now, and I'm surprised Microsoft didn't have a lot of influence here. Like if you're putting that in your review, you're not looking at the game, you're looking at the things surrounding the game, like who owns the developer of said studio. Like I don't mess I don't mess with that. Like if you like the game, you like the game. You don't punish the game for what you want it to be. You sort of look at it for what it is and kind of go from there. That's always been my mentality, because people are going to have preferences for different games that they enjoy. But if you are expecting like a Hellblade to have like oh, where is my horde mode multiplayer thing? I mean, those things would be cool. But it's a different type of cinematic experience, so you judge it within that regard. I feel like a lot of the reviews aren't doing that, but I feel like to me the game is about around an 8.5 to a 9. Just because like as I'm playing it, I don't get that feeling I get with other games. Like I am very I'm just in it. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like when I'm playing this game, I feel like dang, like this is crazy that I'm experiencing this Senua as a character, and I'm actually feeling involved within the story or what's happening. Now there are moments where I'm like, well, you could have kept kept that out, as I was explaining earlier. But in terms of the reviews, I think it's better than the first one. For sure. The story in the first one, I feel like is what was a lot more relatable to people. Relatable just in the aspect like you can understand her gripes. You can understand like, oh, everyone I think knows what it's like to lose somebody or know what that pain is like. So in the first game, it was a lot easier to understand her motivations of moving forward, that pain of loss of her lover, and then she's sort of trying to get him back. Now, the second one, she's come to acceptance, and that's a major theme, I would say, in this one is acceptance. And she's mastered her voices for the most part now. They're not basically in her ear saying that like I don't know, not as much as in the first one of like, oh, you're trash, or you don't understand, or don't do this. They are a little bit more supportive in this one. So it's I don't know, I think where they went with this game from the first one to the second is everything is bigger, like kind of what everyone here on the panel is saying. The environments are is the best looking game I've ever seen, like easily. So there's that. The audio from the first game to the second, it's even more ambitious here. So if you like the audio in the first game, you're going to like it in the second. I think the major gripes people have with it is its length and its some of the storytelling choices. People don't like the puzzles. I am on the boat. Like I didn't.
What did you think of the new puzzles they put in there?
Some of them were pretty good. I was annoyed by the puzzles in the first one a little bit,
Right.
but not to the point. Not to the point where I was like, this game is trash or whatever. I just thought some of the newer puzzles I thought was pretty smart. Like I don't know how far people are in the game, so I don't want to spoil too much. But some of the puzzles I thought were actually pretty well done. I do wonder because most of the puzzles you do in Hellblade are all based on how you see the world, right? So I do wonder what it would have been like if you had a puzzle where it's you are actually moving like stuff around in the environment, but it does fit what the game is. I'm just wondering what that would be like. Because it's like a variation of the puzzles from the first game, but they just like changed it a little bit. But yeah, I totally enjoyed Hellblade 2. I don't think it's any worse than the first one. I think they definitely increased the experience here with the second. So to your original question, Luca, I think it was basically, what do you think about the reviews? I don't know. I haven't the gaming media to me lately hasn't been it. they've not been matching my vibes lately. So I click with people who I know played the game, what their personal experiences are, rather than people attacking the game for what they want it to be or anything like that. So
yeah, that's some good points. I think for me, I came into this game with an 8.6 in mind. That's kind of still where I sit at with the game. Could it easily be something that hit in the 9s? Absolutely. I just think that there are some things that I feel like are kind of missing in the game to hit that kind of number. But when it comes to the overall feel and scope and everything of the game, I feel like it's just what it needed to be. Like my whole premise on what I wanted from Hellblade 2 was let's do better with the stuff that was in the first one. Like I feel like the puzzle design is a lot better in the second one, even though some people don't like the fact that the certain puzzles are still there that were present in the first one. I do feel like they changed it up quite a bit with the puzzles and linked on their new puzzle designs that they were doing more in this game than the old, with sprinkles of the old one. The combat itself, was the biggest sticking point for me. Like it wasn't terrible in the first one, but I wanted a little bit more depth. It's more like they exchanged the combat for a different way of playing the game. Like you still have that surreal up close and personal feeling with the game where you're playing it, but it just doesn't feel like you have the complete control that you had in the first one. But boy, does the control that you do in the second one, it just feels good when you're playing it. So it kind of just makes you feel like it makes you feel more powerful in this one than in the first one did. I felt like the environments that you traverse through. I was listening to you guys talk about the part where you with the sword and everything, but that was kind of set up with the beginning part of that chapter with the torch. Because you did the same thing, handing the torch off and being able to get the torch back. It was kind of building up that.
Oh, true.
Yeah, it was building up that kind of trust with yourself, because the biggest thing is about being afraid of the dark. What's going to happen in the dark? So they build upon that. So it's like, okay, so we take the sword, we take the torch away. What's the one thing we can take away? That's the ultimate thing. That's like her ultimate protector, which is the sword. So it was kind of a build up to like tell you like this is where her mindset is, and this is how we're going to conquer and move on to the next thing.
But what did she conquer?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to say it was the perfect design. I'm just saying, but that's kind of their thought process on why they were building you up from taking something away from you that just scared you to something that you actually needed to survive in that realm, which is, I kind of think they missed on that a little bit. But, and things like that is the reason I wouldn't go as high as a 9, but you really don't have that much wiggle room when you're talking about a game that's anywhere from 6 to 8 hours long. It's like, in order to like really have that really huge impact on something, you really can't have kind of any misses along the way, because it's not enough time for you to make that up with other types of gameplay elements that you might add into the later game or something like that. So With just some of the little things that did happen, I feel like 8.6 would have been a great score. I'm fine with the 8.1s. I mean, people can feel how they want to feel about it. I always knew that this was going to be a game that if you like the first one and they did even 10 or 15% better in all of the areas that people had mostly issues with, the game was going to be a better game in general. And it looks like they did quite just that. And they kept it the same length. And I think most of the discourse is the fact that it's owned by Microsoft now. And people were assuming that it meant it was going to be a bigger game. That they know a lot of people, that's what, even ourselves, a lot of us on the panel, felt like, oh, Microsoft's behind it. We didn't know how big of a game it was going to be, but a lot of people thought it was going to be more than what we actually got. That's why the conversation around 5-hour to 8-hour campaign was thrown around. And even knowing that was the length of the first game, people just expected more. And I understand that, but it's in line with the first one. The story is just as good as the first one, if not better. I feel like the combat is really hit or miss depending on you and how you experienced it. But I think it was good enough to be applicable for what this version of the game is. And there's going to be a lot of people out there that's going to enjoy it. And it's going to win just as many awards, if not more, than it won than the first one. So all of those things together equal a better game, in my opinion.
Okay, real quick though, if you guys can answer Meat Puppet's question. Shout out to Meat Puppet with the dono. Appreciate your brother saying, I haven't played the first game yet. Am I good to just jump into the second game, or should I play the first one?
I would recommend playing the first game first because, you could play the second one. You would be very confused by just things that they just expect you to just know. Like the voices and the way they speak to her and how they just kind of talk in passing about things that happened in the first game. Like, you probably want to just go play the first game first, and you'll get a deeper understanding of her character and who she is, and that might help with some of the decisions that she makes in 2. So I would recommend.
They talk mad crap to you in this game too, by the way.
Yeah, they be doing.
They talk so much. Like the first game, I felt like it was more of a confliction with the voices, like how she should feel versus how she does feel, and everything like that. Where in this one, you ended the first one what they're talking about. She's confident. She's here. She knows who she is. Now it's like, yeah, the voices there, they know who you are, but we talking mess about you. About
I was trying to pinpoint like the difference between the voices from the first one and the second one, because now she can kind of control them a lot more, but I was trying to figure out what it was.
She mostly just ignores them. Like they'll be like I think there may have been one time in chapter 4 where she was just like, "We all shut up." Yeah, because they were just like, "Oh, you about to die? Oh, here we go. And it's just like, "Yo, shut up." And but in the first game, she would be arguing with them, like she's like I'm not, stop talking to me like that. I'm not this, I'm not that. And they'll just be kind of like laughing at like they just like, man, whatever, you ain't doing that. But like now they're just kind of like, and only, I don't know, I felt like it was more voices in the first one, but in this one it's just like 2. It's just like 2 voices just kind of going back at each other. She's stupid.
The voices in this one are more concentrated.
I
think that was to enhance, like in the first one, it was just, you're crazy and there's so many things happening at once in your head. This is why you're crazy. And now it toned it down so that you get more concentration of the things that are happening inside her head. Because before it was just noise in her head. Now it's, like you said, it's more conversational because they'll have all the interactions, and then she's now a part of the conversations as opposed to the conversations are just happening.
Yeah, but she mostly just ignores them for the most part. Like they talk and they'll say things. She never responds to them. Maybe she's learned to now just like, it's whatever. Like she just kind of like tunes them out. Like, cause like she'll be having a conversation with one of the companions or an NPC, and they'll be like, "You're gonna mess this up." And
Yeah.
and then she'll just like, so anyway, so you were saying about like she just ignores anything that they say.
Yeah, I
which
just picture them like eating popcorn, like while all this is happening. You're like, what are you gonna do about
Like
that?
this is literally what Inside Out looks like inside your head.
Thanks.
right, but it's in regards to your question, Luca, I think like where it's at right now, I think that's fine. Like I think the game is better than the first game in the areas of the first game that people already thought were strong. Like people had always talked about how Hellblade 1 was a game that people were shocked the game looked the way it looked with just 24 people making it. And the sound design, shout out to David Garcia because that dude's a beast. And the sound design was top notch even then. They took what they did then and just said, all right, we're going to make that even better. But even before it came out on the Xbox, even before Ninja Theory was acquired by Microsoft, when it was just an exclusive game on PlayStation, it was an 81 Metacritic, and the criticisms were that the combat was too shallow and the puzzles suck. And I think in this game, the combat is in Hellblade 2, the combat is slightly better. The puzzles don't suck as much, and it's like that. Although you have enhancements with the story and the visuals, it's not quite enough to really kind of like catapult it like that. I know some people, and it's subjective, like how you feel about it. But some people feel like, oh, it should be like in the 90s, and I'm just like, well, I disagree with that. But I do enjoy this game better than the first game. So like I think where I predicted it would be at, which would be like an 84, is about where I would probably put it. But if anything, all the discourse this week has really highlighted to me that yet again, I'm sick and tired of review scores, and they just don't. People like we did all this discussing so far in this show for like an hour, and we've been talking about like our experiences with the game. If like the way people interact with review scores, instead of us going one by one discussing how we felt about the game and all the different aspects, it'll be just like, Force, what's your score? 3-bit, what's your score? Mass, what's your score? And it's just like, because like that's how people treat review scores. You could have a 20-minute review on YouTube. You could have a long, well thought out and well written review, and people will scroll right past all of that and get to what your score was. 7.5. Are you fucking kidding me? At 7.5, you piece of shit. Now I'm about to send you death threats. And it's just like, did you read his review? Maybe if you read the review, you could get where he's coming from or she's coming from. Maybe, you may not quite agree, but you're like, oh, I see how you got there with how you felt about the game. It's just people just ignore any of that. Oh, it's not what I wanted to be, which 81 Metacritic score is a good score. Like that's not like a failing grade, it's a good score. It shouldn't get you shut down or like sequel not push forward or push through. But I just think that people care too much about review scores, and it's frustrating for me.
They're weird, and that validation is all that makes their life go forward.
Ding ding,
but
ding ding.
Like yeah, like, it's the same with like people make like I've seen people make like hour videos, hour and a half videos, and they have like 12 minutes worth of game time. I don't know how you made a video longer than the amount of time you played the game. That don't make no damn sense. But do you like so? It's one of those things where review scores is just like anything else. The only review score that matters is yours. Either you like the game or you didn't. Like, play the damn game, and if you don't like it, you don't like it.
Yep.
Like it's real simple. Like if you like, hey, I don't like this game because that's whatever. But if you just like, I don't like that the game exists. Okay, well, move on and play something else. Like that shit ain't that serious.
I'll bring up two people real quick that like do like people focus really like they like the content that they make when it comes to how they analyze, critique, or review games, and they don't do review scores. ACG is probably one of the biggest interviewers out there. All he does is a buy, wait for a sell, game pass, or pass. That's it. He's just he's not giving you a review score. He breaks down every aspect of the game. He does an excellent job. Joseph Anderson, whose YouTube channel I think is goated, this dude will do 4-hour critiques of games that people love, like people like Elden Ring. He absolutely, I wouldn't say ripped Elden Ring to shreds, but he had an hour and 40-minute review.
He had fair critiques. He always
Exactly.
had fair. Like
And
I love his stuff too. He
Yeah.
always has fair critiques, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's just it, Luca. It's like here's an hour and 40 minutes. There is no score. He's just telling you, he's just breaking the game down and critiquing it for what it is. And if you have a problem, you're like a FromSoft stan, and it's way too many of them out there. But and you're just like, how dare you not say it's the greatest game ever because FromSoft made it? Watch them. Watch that guy's video, and at the end they're just like, okay, all right, I get it. You know, it's just like it's about actually hearing what people have to say versus I don't like that you gave that number.
If the game was 3 hours longer and had more combat, they would have rated it a 9. Because the people that gave it like abysmal scores, those are the complaints. Or they don't like this genre of game, so I don't know why the fuck you were the one playing it, but whatever. Like,
yeah, it's like me playing a sports game. I'm like, oh, this was a mistake.
Like,
Don't
this
let
is gonna
me
be an
do
L,
it.
right? This is gonna be an L for a score. I don't know why I would assign this to you as the owner of this publication. I'm gonna make the person who hates these type of games review this.
Review it, all right?
Right, we just won't review it. If nobody wants to fuck with it, just don't review the fucking game. It's not that serious. It's not. It's not that hard. You make yourself worse by putting it on people that don't actually give a damn about anything that's happening in the game. They just slog through it, and then they got to the end. It was like, it sucked. You thought it was gonna suck. You went in with like, this is gonna be trash. You came out and was like, oh, it's definitely trash. Okay, well, you knew what it was. So all these review scores, they don't mean anything in the grand scheme. Ninja Theory, I think this is how all of their games are gonna be, where they're extremely narrative driven and graphically beautiful and short, and that's how they're just gonna push forward. That's gonna be what their studio is going forward. That's just my impression based on people I've talked to.
And Mass, I want to kind of touch on that for a second because that's something that I said to Forte earlier this week, and I said, like, you know, I would much rather it's been a while since Ninja Theory has been the studio that's like, you know, they about to be about their combat. You know, like that was a studio whose releases were a little while ago, and we don't know who's still there. We don't know if the key cogs, the foundational pieces of the development team that did, you know, focused on combat so well and did that so well are still even there. Like, I look at Ninja Theory today, and we know Project Mara looks like it's about to be some kind of horror kind of thing based off of what we saw with the teaser. Their next game, I know what their next game is. I ain't gonna say it, but it's just like it's not going to be very much different than what we're already getting from them. I think Bleeding Edge might be the last time they have something that's like combat focused, even though that was like a hero shooter. I'm fine with Ninja Theory being this kind of boutique artsy fartsy studio than becoming like BioWare, where it's like, you know, the people who work there can't do the kind of like games that the studio used to make, because the people who made those games, they don't even work there anymore. So it's like, I'd much rather you just find your niche and do what you're good at than trying to chase a ghost that you're never really going to catch. So I'm fine with Ninja Theory being this kind of studio and making these kind of games that are not like, they're not going to sell 10 million copies. They're not going to push Game Pass, subscriptions, but they are the kind of different takes in games that I think a platform or a publisher should want to have, because it makes your portfolio unique and different.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. So, okay. Well, thanks for everyone's perspective on the review scores. Now, let's see here. I just want to add a quick question, but I don't want it to be like a long form conversation. I just have a question. So Colin Moriarty, he said, let's see here. He says Microsoft buys a studio for 9 figures, and 6 years later they come out with a beautiful 5-hour game that scores identically to the original. So why buy the cow, right? So do you think that Microsoft made the right decision in purchasing Ninja Theory based on the results of this game?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they came cheap, and they provide a different, like they provide more than just games for them. They got their proprietary motion capture technology that they should be putting to great use. They're very proficient in Unreal Engine, and a lot of their developers are using Unreal Engine, so they could be more than just a coalition out here helping everyone finish their homework. They let Ninja Theory take on some of that too. So
it's this simple. Microsoft issue was always IP ownership. During the 360 era, they had a bunch of exclusive games. They brought a bunch of stuff to the forefront that we loved. Mass Effect, BioShock. They brought all of those to the forefront, and they funded them and then put them out, but they didn't have the IP. Now they own the IP, so whatever they put out now is Microsoft's. So yes, they bought the cow because they want to own the things that they fund.
Yeah,
Sony's been doing that by forcing the IP ownership. On the other side, Microsoft just is like, we have more money, so we just bought the whole fucking studio. It's that simple.
Yeah, and there's benefits to owning said studio. Like when I was working with the team on Fable, they had like other teams would come in and give advice, or you can push your game to be better, essentially. And with Ninja Theory, their mocap studio, I mean, that's just one example of the game being essentially better just because of Microsoft, giving that money. But they were able to do a lot more with the story and the gameplay, all because Microsoft is owning them. So I mean, you could easily say like, oh yeah, well it scored the same, but I don't know. I don't agree with that sentiment. I just think that there's benefits to you owning something if you're Microsoft, like what you were just saying. It's now underneath your umbrella. You could pad out your portfolio. There's several benefits to owning them, even if it does score the same. It's more so about sentiment or how you can push games in the future. Like for other future Ninja Theory games, I'm sure they're going to get even better now that they work with this game. I'm sure they're going to learn more. So
let me ask, without it coming off as an insult, would you say that is typically like a reductive viewpoint, like just saying, well, because the game outwardly scored the same and isn't doing too much different, therefore it was a waste to purchase Microsoft? Would you view that that perspective that is as reductive, considering all the other things that Ninja Theory brought with them?
I view that as a broke person telling a $1 billion company how to operate. I'm supposed to buy a Honda because you can only afford a Honda. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm not gonna buy a bike when I can afford a Ferrari. I'm gonna buy the fucking Ferrari because that's what I can afford.
Shout out to everybody that got a Honda.
Look, do your thing. I just bought my daughter one. She turned 16, first car. But like the same thing. Like that's all that comes off as. All these people telling these billion-dollar corporations how to spend their billions. They're billionaires. They can do whatever the hell they want. Microsoft chooses to buy stuff.
I mean, I thought it was reductive that Square Enix sold their whole Western division for NFTs, but
I agree.
who am I? You know, corporations, they're going to do what they need to do. And that was a decision they made. I thought it was a good one. I got a better, I love Hellblade as a series, and I got a better one. So I don't know. It's different ways to look at it for sure. If you are working for these corporations, like, oh, I wish it scored higher in review scores or something. I'm looking at it from a gamer's perspective. Like, I got a better game in my opinion. It was a bigger budget Hellblade 1, and that's my perspective on it. But some people are going to be like, oh, well, what are the review implications, or what are the finances? Like, how much is it making? Like, I never have cared for that side of the conversation spectrum, but that's just
Alrighty. Yeah, no, I'm fine with Colin's perspective, mostly because I don't care. But like, I just wanted to pose the question for those who actually played the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I would also say, I think I'm not 100% certain on this. I think it was insinuated, but I don't know for certain. But I think Ninja Theory was financially in a lot of trouble before they got acquired. A lot of the studios Microsoft acquired and around that time period. And even if you look at like the publishers they have, it wasn't because they were doing great. They said, hey, let's just sell ourselves to Microsoft. Like, you know, we're financially stable, but we still want, you know, to do that. It's more of they weren't financially stable, and they weren't quite figuring out how to keep the lights on. And they made that choice because they wanted that. And so it's probably a good chance that Ninja Theory doesn't exist if they didn't get acquired. And so at least they're still here making games. And so that I would say at the very least, or at least from myself as a consumer, that I feel like, yeah, it was worth it. Because their games are still being made.
All right. So shout out to Brain Cells on Fire with the super chat. Appreciate you saying, if it's not the greatest game I've ever played, then it's trash. Gamers, yes. A lot of people do tend to have, again, that is also a reductive perspective in my opinion. All right, so I did want to talk about the Shadow of the Erdtree trailer real quick. I heard one of these YouTubers say, it was the best trailer I've ever seen in my entire life. I almost turned the video off. I was like, you From Software dick writer.
Oh, they're the worst, man. Oh my god.
And like,
he whipped out those knee pads quick. Damn.
Got the gawking. Good grief.
Lightning speed.
Go ahead, Luca. My bad.
So no, you're good, because my Wi-Fi started tripping at the FromSoft fans got me. Now, for anyone new listening, before I go in, all right, before I say anything else, I beat Dark Souls 3 5 times, Dark Souls twice, Dark Souls 2 once. I have the platinum for Bloodborne. I have the platinum for Demon Souls Remake. I have the platinum for Elden Ring. I am missing one achievement in Sekiro, right? I beat Sekiro 4 times. So I am a From Software dick writer. But some of the From Software dick writers just get on my nerves, you know? That's all I'm saying.
They never get off. They never get off the dick.
They never get off long enough to have a good opinion. They just, like I said, could this be the best trailer this person's ever seen? Perhaps. But like, the fact that they said it just made me want to turn the video off, because I'm just like, all right, let's relax here. Because essentially it is just it's a story trailer, right? It's not like a gameplay trailer. Like, I expect people to have that perspective about gameplay trailers, not story-based trailers, because in story-based trailers, it's like they do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not actually seeing what you're going to actively be experiencing in the sense of gameplay, you know? But that's just me. All right. So anyway, the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC trailer dropped. Once again, absolutely gorgeous trailer. I personally really enjoyed it. And then let me know if I'm cutting in and out, guys.
Oh, you're good. I mean, we understand what you're saying, but it is kind of like clippy.
Kind of clippy. Well, as long as you understand what I'm saying, right? But yeah, so the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC drops. Okay. And here's my perspective of it. I watched it a couple of times. I have a lot of different thoughts on it. Here are my predictions. At first, I think that Mikola is going to be the bad guy. And this is why I think this. I think that from the very beginning, Mikola has had thematic times to Griffith from Berserk, and Griffith is the main bad guy in Berserk. From how they, from how they look, Griffith is described as very feminine looking. He has long, it's like white hair, like white golden hair, and it's white, but he has long white hair, right? And he's long curly white hair. It used to be straight, but now it's curly white hair, and he commands this sort of like enthusiasm and respect from his masses. Like in the Golden Age era, he could get people to revere him and want to follow him because he was so charismatic. And Mikola has constantly been described as someone who can um, incite that kind of passion as well, where he has so many followers and so many people who revere him. And there is a item in the game where it's essentially like you are compelling the enemies to work on your behalf, right? And this is an item from Mikola. So I think, especially the emphasis in the trailer with Mikola's followers, just like basically as they are followers, following him into this land of shadows, or they're already there and they were just waiting for him to come back, right? I think that Mikola is going to be the bad guy. Now that is just perspective. Also, the egg. So when you go and fight Moog, aka one of the weirdest, like the weirdest brother in my opinion. When you go to fight Mog, Mikola's cocoon is just chilling in the back, right? Mikola's not like he's in there, it's his body, but he's not in there, right? Now, Griffith, during the eclipse, he goes into a cocoon, and when he emerges as Femto. And Femto is like the idealized version of Griffith, you know? But Griffith is not like Griffith is dead essentially, and Femto, all that remains is Femto. Femto is not a good person. Like that is an understatement, right? So in my opinion, I think that Mikola is going to be the bad guy in this DLC, just based off the thematic ties that is with Griffith. You know what I'm saying? Miyazaki-san and company, they are big fans of Berserk. There is imagery from Berserk in every single one of their games. So that is why that is my perspective on that. I also am very curious about Mesmer. I cannot wait to learn more about that character. People have been debating back and forth about whether or not who's the dad. You know what I'm saying? Because he's clearly one of Melania's children, but we don't know who the father is. Some people are saying Radagon because of the red hair. Other people are saying maybe Godfrey. Other people are saying it's that old dude. You know, the old dude who's in the trailer, who's in the photo. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so sorry I keep saying, you know what I'm saying? It's just coming out of my mouth, right? So I am very curious about that aspect as well. I love the imagery, like, of him actually impaling these creatures. The creatures have the omen horns. So, you know, just like, I'm just so, and I love the beginning now. I was like, oh, maybe that's Mikola. People are saying that it's most likely Melania based off the way the hair is styled, based off the bracelets. It all matches her image when she's the artwork of her, right? And it's like, okay, this is how she first formed the lands between. This is how she ascended into power. And they were talking about, like, in the background, it sounds like a meteor's falling, but there's also the sound of like there's a growling in the background too. So, you know, people are saying that's Melania, and that's her first, like, creating the Elden Ring. And what she was reaching into, I don't know what she was reaching into. It was giving pregnancy. You know what I'm saying? There's like lots of themes of birth in this game. Again, starting with Mikola. Mikola is in a fucking egg, right? He's hatching into something else, right? There's artwork for the DLC for a new enemy that resembles a fucking uterus. Okay, so, and whatever she was just reaching into looked disgusting, and it was giving orphan of cause. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, so I also really liked the imagery of her ascending the stairs and the stairs just being filled with gore and blood and filth. It was like reminding me of Rijkaard's blasphemous room. You know what I'm saying? So very like interesting. Overall very interesting DLC. We saw a lot. It was a great DLC trailer. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like it is properly prepping us for what's to occur. And I'm very curious to see how many things that the lore channels got correct versus like not. And so
Yeah, I agree. I think that is Mikola in the beginning because we haven't really seen Mikola. We heard is that like he like his mother Queen Marika could change forms, change from a female form to a male form, and I think that is potentially what we haven't seen Mikola's female form. We just know that as a male, he looks like a little child, and
it's Saint Trina. Saint Trina. It's Saint Trina.
Who's that?
She is so you know those sleep pots and like the sleep sword?
Yeah.
So it's like she's like whatever goddess that is, right? So that's said to be Mikola's other form, Saint Trina.
Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that's Mikola in the beginning. I think and I think if you recall, I said it from the very beginning. I thought that like the big bad of the DLC would be Mikola. Just if you kind of just look at everything that kind of happened to him being kidnapped by Moog, whatever weirdness happened after that put him in that egg.
Okay.
It's just like there's a lot that like I think that like it would make sense that his character just kind of just goes bad because everything about him before that always like, oh, this all the other children of America are all jacked up, and they all did some jacked up stuff that make you just go like, I'm kind of glad I'm killing you right now when you fight them all. But even though you never got a chance to in the original game meet that character or fight them, everything in the lore that tells you about that character is just like, oh, so you try to create your own Erdtree to kind of get away from the order and to kind of, provide the balance that the Lance Between needed. That's nice. Oh, you were so helpful to people and trying to, take care of the people who lived here and no one else seems to give a crap about.
King Mikola, Mikola the Kind, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think when you do all those things and you're the nicest person in the world and then you still get shit on, you're just like, well, know what? Just screw it. I'm bad now. I'm Breaking Bad, and I think that's what's a lot of the theme of what's going to happen. But we'll see. We got like a month ago, and actually less than that, right? It's like the
21st.
21st, yeah. So I'm ready.
I think Mikola became disillusioned with the Order because they could not find a way to cure Melania of her affliction, which is she's afflicted by an outer god. There's no cure in that shit, bro. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And by the time he found something to stop the spread, she had lost her eyesight, her limbs. Like she's not looking good, bro. Oh, her mind too. She's definitely not all there. All right. Not at all. I was running through Caelid and I was like looking at everything. I was just like, damn, she really fucked this place up. Like she really fucked this place up. She was wrong for that, So I definitely vibe with your like, oh yeah, they've all done some really fucked up things, her kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Mikola is just disillusioned. Also, I think that Mikola may be the most like his mother because Marika is not a good person. Like she's awful. The things that she has done, it's just kind of like, well, you are like a tyrant, And it's like Mesmer is being called a tyrant, but I'm just like, perhaps that's your mother. Maybe it's both of y'all, right? But Marika, there's something wrong with Marika. The way she like discards her children. Yeah, no. Get I'm glad her ass is hanging a Jesus style at the end of the game. Like she's
her
a
first
hot mess.
consort, the first Elden Lord, threw this dude away as soon as he lost one battle. Get up out of here. You're nothing to me. Then decided, oh well, the kingdom of was it Lernia? We're kind of equal with them. Okay, so I'm just going to turn into my male form, seduce their leader, and then the fighting's over. Create a bunch of kids with her, and then once
My kids,
and then abandon her and the kids. She's still heartbroken 5,000 gazillion years later, just like that.
mine just shattered.
America's just
She's
I mean,
wild,
but
dude.
you got parents like this. Of course, the kids are going to turn out jacked up. So yeah.
She's real vile. Like I'm like, ugh. Shout out to Clifton with the dono saying crazy. I've been following you guys since 2017. Holy shit, we're getting old. I love you guys. Love you too, brother. I remember when Clifton first started coming around, he was like really young, and all of us were like, oh, I didn't know we had young people listening to us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I just think that I think it's gonna be good. Singer, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Have you beat Moog?
No.
Oh well, you're gonna have to
haven't-
beat Moog to play the DLC.
Oh, well, okay.
Are you?
I
You're
still
on
got
PC,
shit to
or-
do. Yeah, I'm still on PC.
Okay.
The thing is, it's just so many games have been coming out that I've been interested in. But now the slowdown has happened. I re-downloaded it in anticipation for the DLC. It's because it's like, okay, well, I got nothing else to play, so I may as well just crack on with it.
Yeah, I hear you.
But overall, the trailer looks good. I just love the game. I love dark fantasy, like stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we know.
But this is
Yeah.
like, well, no, not in that.
Especially
sense. Not
enslavement. That is your favorite.
Where's this narrative coming from? No.
Where?
Where's this narrative coming from?
Where?
No, that's a serious question.
From your own words, Singer.
But that's a mechanic of the game. That's not. Never mind. You know what? Sure.
You just you love those mechanics in games. It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you. There we go. Yeah, but I can't wait to play it. It looks really, really good. So
Sweet, man.
How far are you in Elden Ring? You said you just reinstalled it.
I have no idea. When I stopped, I have no idea. It stopped like last year, so I have no idea. I'll have to reload it up and have a look. I know I was cheesing it with the staff build, the mage build.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the comet or beam, giant Jesus beam or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. So fuck knows.
All right. Sounds good then. Anyone else play Elden Ring here?
Yes. Was it the greatest trailer you ever saw, Singer?
Absolutely not. No, nowhere near. Nowhere near. It was a good trailer for what it did, but is it the best? Absolutely not. No, you can miss me with it.
What is the best trailer you've ever seen?
I
It
was
has
just
to-
about
it
to
has
say it. I was just
It
thinking
has
about
to
it.
be Halo. It has to be. Is it Halo 3? Is it Halo 3 where there's that or is it
What?
Halo 2 where Master Chief is hung up like by that brute and he has the grenade in his hand? And it's like models on a board. You remember that trailer?
Oh, that was 3?
Yeah, 3. That and also that was probably the best one, to be honest. Because
Nice.
No, I'm just thinking. Like, you guys remember the nickname the chat had for Singer? Deathfinger. Deathfinger the Colonizer is such a funny name. That is. Oh man, that's great. Okay, my bad. Go ahead. I continue.
yeah, that was the greatest trailer to me. Definitely a Halo 3 trailer.
What about the rest of you guys? What's like the best trailer you've ever for you personally? Best trailer for you personally?
Mass Effect Legendary Edition's announcement trailer, when they used I forgot the name of the song, but the song was perfect with the trailer, and they showed every aspect of the trilogy, with like just the way it was edited. Like whoever did that, like hats off to them. They are a master at like video editing, and it was really good. It really got me like hyped to play it. So that's probably the best trailer I've ever seen.
Oh, I
You
don't
guys-
know. Maybe I don't want to gripe on what people are saying in chat, but Gears of War did leave an impression on me when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, Mad World. Yeah, that was great.
That definitely did leave an impression on me. I do remember there was this Final Fantasy trailer I really liked back in the day, but I can't remember what it's called. So I'm gonna just stick with Gears of War Mad World. That was a special one. This new one's cool though. I don't know much about Elden Ring. I mean, I played it a little bit, but that trailer is pretty dang cool. I like them. I was thinking of who does the really good trailers. I know Blur Studios does really good trailers, but it was me of the people who do like Diablo trailers or World of Warcraft. Like those tend to be just very well made CGI story type trailers. If we're talking like story type trailers, and I'm sure those will be up there. If we're talking like gameplay type trailers, I think Halo had some pretty cool ones. But
yeah, I would say for story type trailers, my favorite is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood's trailer, the reveal trailer, where he's walking through the crowd, and it just like gives that tease of the mechanic of you building your own, like the fact that you could recruit people to be assassins was like the coolest part. Like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is my favorite Assassin's Creed game, right? And so like he's just walking through the crowd, and like guards are just falling left and right because they're being killed by your assassins.
Oh,
and then,
I remember that one. Yeah, that was good.
They circle him, right? And he's like he lifts his hand, and like all the guards just fucking falls to the ground dead, dude. That trailer is fucking awesome, and it's like stuck with me since then. So that is my favorite like story based trailer.
I want to change my answer. I forgot about Revelations, that trailer with Hood Kid.
That was good too.
Ooh, yeah.
I have a couple like honorable mentions, like Arkham Origins. That was a good trailer. Because it was like the fight with damn it! Now Death. What the hell is that? Death. Oh, it's fucking with me. But that one was good.
Deathstroke.
There you go. I was like, I was having a stroke. Like that's the first time. Yeah. So the fight with Deathstroke, like, because that tease was good. Hitman Absolutions had a good one. Ghost of Tsushima trailer was good. And I think probably and Destiny, they can't make a good game. Destiny trailers be fire.
Yeah, they are. Those trailers are fire, dude. Yeah,
those trailers be fire. Like they really sell you like, yeah, they fixed it, but no, it's still Destiny. But
okay, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
yeah, I would say
tell you like, maybe they did this right this time, but then
they do their job, man. They definitely do their job.
They sell it.
My favorite gameplay based trailer is Dark Souls 3 trailer, where it's like the song is like I'd rather watch my kingdom fall playing in the background, and it's just like a montage of you fighting different enemies and different bosses. That's actually the trailer that got me to play the game, because for so long I was like, I play games to have fun, not to be miserable. I'm not playing Dark Souls, right? But that trailer was so good that it got me to play Dark Souls 3 after playing Bloodborne, because I was just going to stick with Bloodborne, because like there's mechanically Bloodborne is not very different. It has differences compared to Dark Souls 3's gameplay. Dark Souls 3 is also very fast because it came out a year after Bloodborne, right? So they were working on it at the same time. But Bloodborne mechanically, I do prefer that, right? So, but that trailer is what got me to play Dark Souls 3 after I beat Bloodborne. So. But yeah, the Kingdom Fall trailer for Dark Souls 3. All right, but yeah, great.
I think that it was the Halo 3 Believe trailer. That was the one where he's holding the grenade. Also, the other great Halo 2 announcement trailer was fantastic. The way Cortana says, "What if you miss?" And then the chief says, "I won't die." That's classic. And then also, what is it? Halo Reach Deliver Hope. That's a fantastic when he goes up onto the Covenant ship and the one Spartan dies and he grabs the bomb and goes up onto the ship and throws it in, and I'm like, yeah, Reach is a fantastic.
Halo had some amazing trailers. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, and it was the music mainly though also added to it because Mario O'Donnell.
Cyberpunk trailer was good too. It's just
It just became inaccurate because like
Yeah.
it came out. It was like, where's all the stuff in the trailer?
That trailer was pretty fucking fire, dude.
It was
like, what is it? The one that the teaser trailer, and it plays that song where it's just like, let me be the lesser of a beautiful man without a gun in my hand or something like that. Like, that shit was fucking amazing. Where like they're all surrounding I can't remember what she's called, but the one who she's got like the claws coming out of her arm or whatever, and like dripping blood. Nah, that shit was fucking fire, dude. I love that trailer.
The Mantis Blades.
Yeah,
I'm actually using that though a build with the Mantis Blades in my current Cyberpunk playthrough right now. It's okay.
Them Dead Island.
It's not as good as the Monowire, man. Monowire is freaking goated. How about go ahead, Bass?
The Dead Island trailers, they be funny.
Oh yeah, those are great. Those are actually really good trailers too. Yeah, they tell a story.
Yeah. It tells you like how you got to the point where you playing the game, you know, and then tell you about all the little people you'll meet. You'll see like glimpses of them, and they're funny. And they always have a theme, and they're funny.
Yeah.
What about Metal Gear Solid 2? Yeah. Now that's a banger.
I remember 3's trailer.
All right, sweet. What about you, Nautical? Do you have any?
Man.
Bro, you need to eat? You tired? Go ahead and grab a sandwich or something, big dog.
No, I'm not tired.
Oh, okay.
I was just when you proposed that, I was like just thinking the whole time, like, because I was listening I just started Cyberpunk literally yesterday.
Did you hear him start yawning?
Yeah, he's definitely tired, bro. Like, I'm not tired. Yawn.
Listen, as soon as Lucas said tired, my mouth opened for a hard second. It was like, I'm not tired. Not tired.
Why would you think I'm tired?
Look, two people in this panel just yawned, and two people just yawned when he did that on this panel, and they won't admit it.
Nobody yawned.
Nobody yawned, bro.
We
did some fake yawns imitating you, but we didn't for real yawn.
I mean, to be fair, I'm the only one who should be yawning, and I didn't yawn. So
yeah. All
right, sounds good.
If you still want to think about it, Nautical, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
I'll just go to the next topic in the meantime. So, I think the Stellar Blade petition worked. The one where those guys were doing the videos. Maslow, I wish you had been on the panel for that show. But the guys had been. They were doing their videos, expressing their feelings on Stellar Blade.
Yeah,
and they did their little petition, and there was some contribute. I don't fucking know, dude. But anyway, Scrums came out and he said that the petition worked and that these outfits were uncensored. But then other people came out and were saying these are not the same outfits that were initially censored.
Different ones, and the other ones are still censored.
Okay, so I don't know. I mean, but like Grums, like people hate to hear it, but Grums is a grifter, so maybe he was just yapping. I don't know, right? But yeah, so a couple of journals did make articles about this, and Paul Tassi was one of them. Paul Tassi has been getting verbally jumped the last couple of days because of this article, or the last day or so because of this article, because he said that he was no longer engaging in these conversations with people because it's starting to get a little bit serious, which I believe because people are nuts or whatever, right? But Paul Tassi did this article saying Stellar Blade patch, boss rush mode, and uncensored outfits, right? So here are like some of the outfits and the boss rush mode, which is a new challenge mode, which I think is awesome. Some quality of life updates. There's Kunoichi outfits. So these are 2 new outfits that the game says can be obtained at Adam's safe house. But I just got a prompt that they were auto added to my inventory when I logged in. You do not have to buy the patterns or pay to craft them. They're very good. One is the lead up image up there. The other is a gray variant. Here's some uncensored outfits. And he says, here we go. After months of complaints that Stellar Blade had been censored, presumably at Sony's behalf in regards to 2 of Eve's outfits in particular, well, they've ended that dispute. Shift Up maintained that the on-disc outfits were not the intended final outcome from the outfits, so the tiny amount of the extra fabric added was not out of censorship concerns. It was just a design choice, right? There are plenty of even more revealing outfits in the game. That did not satisfy. Excuse me? Do you have an editor? Hello? Okay. That did not satisfy. He was so hyped to get this article out. He was like, fuck it. He was mad. He was like, I'm going to make sure they know how I feel. That did not satisfy a particular crowd who maintained this was purposeful censorship, something they believe was demanded by Sony for release, despite there being no evidence that this was the case. Now, I will say this. Sony is known for censoring several games, right? Like, they're known for their censorship. So I can understand why people would jump to that conclusion, you know? But this resulted in a free Stellar Blade social media campaign mostly focused on the outfits. Now Stellar Blade has released 2 outfits that are not patching or changing the old outfits, which still look the same, but they are variants with the censored bits removed, aka they are very revealing in the pelvis and chest regions as apparently nature intended. Essentially, everyone who was upset about this censorship is considering it a win, though some are still saying uncensor the original outfits, like that even matters anymore with the release of these. You pick these up from Roxanne, the black market dealer. They cost 10 Bitcoin each and must be crafted still, easy to acquire, right? Here's one of the outfits. I said when this was all unfolding that I figured Shift Up would eventually do something like this, either changing the original outfits or doing what they're doing here. They are a company that is absolutely forthright in their intention to make sexy characters and demands that outfits weren't sexy enough in a game full of extremely sexy outfits was probably always going to lead them to go, okay, sure, whatever, here are sexier versions, so here we are. Now, the bad part of this is the culture war folks have been rewarded for their frankly ridiculous campaign lambasting this game, the developer, Sony, everyone for the original outfit changes as some sort of conspiracy, which did not exist. The outfits themselves are fine. Again, there are dozens of outfits at least this revealing in the game, but this being a reward for this group and their behavior is not a good look. Anyway, the big thing is the boss rush mode, and this sounds like a fun thing to go and try now that I've maxed out Eve in every other way. So what do you guys think? Do you think that, like, because from what I'm reading here, they didn't actually uncensor anything. They just added some outfits or whatever, right? So
Yeah, that's
technically they didn't win anything. They just got more outfits, which is nice. But yeah, when I first heard that I guess were successful in the campaign, I was like, oh, okay, well,
all right. Luca,
Ooh.
I'm
Yes,
going
go
to
ahead.
need these people who are campaigning about this to pull up a chair.
All right.
Right. And listen to some sage wisdom. Right. If you really cared about all this, I want these outfits, I want full blown on characters, why don't you go make yourself a PC and you have the modding community to help you with whatever crazy crap you got going on? Instead
so
of
just get a
making this
PC?
petition, build a PC. The modding community has got you. Do you want outfits? Oh, you got outfits. Do you want full on? Oh, you got that option too. Why are you making a petition? Just get a PC and go on Nexus Mods.
Oh.
Yeah.
My God.
I will say this. Listen, at the end of the day, technically they got a variation of what they wanted, but not really, because again, the outfits are not actually uncensored, and everything else, Shift Up censored, is still censored. So then, I think it's disingenuous for Grums to have come out and say that the petition was ultimately a success when, technically speaking, it wasn't. I guess now, like, they got new versions of the outfits, so I would say that's a W, right? Maybe Shift Up had always intended to release the outfits the way they are currently, or maybe they were like, let's just go ahead and take off this strip or whatever was the initial censorship
every
when they
outfit
released the
has
outfit.
like a different color variant in it. Like especially if like you do New Game Plus, like there's some of the outfits that you unlock if you like you can get a different variant of that outfit. That's just basically the same outfit with like maybe a little small changes here and there. But I mean, the whole thing was stupid from the start. It's freaking outfits in that game that are way more revealing than the ones that they quote unquote censored. And you know, maybe these guys who were complaining about that would have unlocked the more revealing outfits if they weren't trying to play with one hand.
See, here,
let that one sink in.
I was there with you. We were on the same path. My sage wisdom, and this is very important. Touch grass, not yourself. That's because that's what's happening right now. Like my 2.5 tweets in the last like year were about this game, and I just asked, does anybody actually give a fuck how it plays? Because I've only ever seen people tweeting about how she looks or her ass. Like that's it. I was like, maybe it's not the game. Maybe y'all just want hentai based on this game, because that's it. That's like, so like I said, my sage advice is touch grass, not yourself. This is irrelevant as fuck. This is not a win. This is a bigger loss than you ever thought it was. Because this is the thing that defined for you whether or not this game was good, was whether or not she was wearing less clothes.
Yeah, and I honestly like, if for anyone that follows Grums, and when I mean follows Grums, I mean like you listen to what he says and you actually like, I don't know how naive you are. I don't know how you were raised. If you were raised like in a cage or something in a basement and you never had actual like social interactions with other people, and you just don't know a grifter when they're grifting. But this dude is like the most obvious worst grifter ever. Like the dude is he's making a game that's not really a game because all he's shown is concept art and it's a scam. Y'all keep ignoring that. He says the most outlandish dumb stuff that can't actually be verified. You guys just keep running with it. And he's using you because he knows you're stupid and obsessed with digital art to the point where you will go through any lengths and agree with any old idiot just as long as they're agreeing with you and they're pushing your agenda. And he's just using you, morons. So just stop. Like, I'm tired of seeing the guy's dumb avatar face on my Twitter timeline. Like, I wish
you could always block them.
Yeah, but then I see other people screenshotting dumb crap. I have blocked them already. I blocked him when he said, I can't remember what he said. I blocked him over a year ago.
Was he the one talking about that menu screen? Or like, oh, I hate it.
I think that was him, yeah.
Yeah, it was him. Yes. But I had blocked him before that. Like I had blocked him for something else, and it's just like he keeps showing up on my timeline because these people keep talking about him, and they screenshot the dumb crap he says, and or they're agreeing with him. I'm just like, good God, like, why is this guy still relevant?
I don't know why he's still relevant. It is puzzling to me.
I'm very curious. Go ahead.
Because I blocked him. But obviously, you know, people have taken screenshots of things that I'm not interested in and posting it, and then it appears on my timeline, and I'm like, I can't escape. So,
I'm wondering, right. So like, because I don't know, I haven't played Stellar Blade. All I know of it is that they had trailers of these outfits, right? This is my perspective on it. They had trailers of these outfits. They said these outfits would be in the game. And then when the game came out, people were like, oh, you slightly modified it so it's less revealing. And then the creator came out and said, oh, no, we didn't touch it at all. And people were like, well, I see you did, actually. And then they...
You gotta say it differently, 3-bit. Well, I see you did actually.
I see you actually did. I see the pixels of the clothes is actually a little bit more. I don't know. Man,
I have 5 screenshots of this outfit before
Like,
you made the patch, and I
before
see
you know
the
what I feel?
differences.
I feel like they were all sitting in front of the screen, like waiting for a nip slip. Like that's what I imagine all these weirdos are doing. Like,
Yeah.
Or they were hoping for something like 2B, you know, where it's look under the skirt.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
So I don't know. I don't know.
I guarantee you, they're the same people that got the trophy for looking under 2B skirt. Guaranteed. The same
You
people.
get a trophy for that or what? No, you.
I don't know. There was a reward. There was like an achievement and whatnot.
Right.
And
Yeah, they did that for that cheerleader game. Shoot, I forgot what it's called.
Lollipop Chainsaw?
Oh yeah. They actually made that an achievement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's like, listen, I don't know what to think about this, just because it's like, if you promise something in a game and then you take it out, and then people are upset about it, I can't get with the crowd where like, hey, you took something out that you promised in the game, no matter what it is, right? It could be a sword, it could be, I know people are upset about this because, you know, that's their digital boobies going on and butts, whatever. But like if you're promising something in a game, you take it away, and then you say you didn't take it away, and then you actually did take it away, then people have a right to call that out. That's what I think.
I feel like that's fine.
So that's my kind of stance on it. But if I don't think it's a win if you are saying like, oh, well, we're putting in other outfits. So see, look, we're actually listening to you. I don't see that as a win. If you are genuinely you really care about this game, and then you do these outfits, I mean, power to you guys. Then I mean, that's something you should call out. I mean, it is what it is, but I don't think you shouldn't call out if someone's promising something in a game and then you take it out. Like, that's for whatever it is, unless it's damaging to the game's experience, and then you take it out because of that. But I don't know.
I just found the whole thing very strange, because I even remember when it was like the topic all over social media, and I saw like these comparison pictures, and they're just like, look what they did, and I was just like,
I really struggled to see the difference.
I'm staring. I'm like, am I tripping? Like, I
haven't seen it
wrong.
Like, was it just like very slight outfit?
Yeah, it's like the scrap of it's like a tank top underneath like a bodysuit or something, right? Like,
yeah, and then another one was like a swimsuit, like a one-piece swimsuit thing that had like just extra fabric around the hip area or something. It was just like,
I got you.
No, you literally needed to have somebody point it out to you what was different in order to get it, because I was just like, I was just staring for like 5 minutes, like I don't where's the
I didn't see the differences. I just, I've been following it.
That's because you were looking with normal people eyes.
Wait, you be looking with creeper eyes. Let me put my creeper glasses on.
It's like junk goggles. You gotta. It's the only way you were gonna be able to see that one pixel that wasn't supposed to be there.
I'm like, what is the problem? I'm like, this is it? Like, y'all gotta be kidding me. But I'm not surprised, because it's the same people that complained about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And what they complained about in Rebirth actually kind of made me mad, because I was just like, this is on like a different level of creepy. Because it's like they're complaining about Tifa's outfit. And initially I thought it was like, I think it's in chapter 5, she's wearing a bathing suit. And I was like, oh, so they nerfed that? And it was like, no, it's the flashback. And I'm like,
yeah, when she was a kid?
When she was 15 years old?
Yeah, y'all creepy bastards.
Yeah, so they put an undershirt to cover up her cleavage that you should not have been looking at a 15-year-old girl's cleavage about. Yeah, she's digital pixels, but for some reason, you only seem to care that she's just digital pixels when we calling you out for being a creepy pedo. And it's just like, what are you be doing here? How are you petitioning Square to take the shirt back off a 15-year-old? Like, hello, what are you doing? And these people, and even to this day, they argue like that was like they were wrong. This is censorship. Like, no, you shouldn't be near like schools. Like, you should be like on a list, like with Drake. Like that's where you need to be. Like, I don't want to hear anything you got to say after that.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of those accounts, like if you look at their accounts, like they're kind of like proving that initial impression by the things that you see that they like and retweet. And so I try, unfortunately, people who are like really adamant about that stuff, like I understand the concept of not supporting censorship, but I do think that there are things that should be censored. And I'm not talking about like the Stellar Blade stuff, like that's kind of like whatever to me, but I'm talking about like other things, right? But there are some people who are like, all censorship is bad. I'm like, no, that's not true. It's just not true. Not all censorship is bad. Some censorship is fine because there are some things that should not exist for public consumption.
Yeah. I've seen some games on Steam where it's just like I feel like the game was developed by somebody who probably
wrote a Stellar Blade petition.
not even. I'm talking about more like on the violent side, where it's just like I remember there was a guy that was trying to create a game that was like basically like a school shooter simulator, and it was just like, it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, that's just no. Like that stuff like that should be censored, and I saw people going the whole, well, nothing should be censored, and I'm just like, well, I disagree with you. Yeah, I as Lucas said, some things just cross the line, and you either got like some of these guys out here, you see like a picture of them, and they're all like, "Oh, I can't believe Valve took my game off of Steam," and he looked like he ain't seen sunlight. His skin has not seen sunlight in years. Like, are you a literal vampire? Like, why won't you go outside? You need some vitamin D.
Yeah, I would
skin,
say
bro.
For me, like the stuff that I believe should be censored, all just has to do with children. That's my main concern, and I don't have any like interest with debating with anybody who says otherwise, because I'm just like, well, why do you want to see violence enacted against a child? You don't think that's a little bit strange? It's a little weird to me, but whatever, whatever floats your boat, I guess. So, but yeah, it is what it is. This, like I said, the Stellar Blade stuff's kind of like whatever. I I was like, this is going a bit too far with the petition, because the outfits, like the changes are so minute, and she has so many other outfits where I was like, okay, like, but at the end of the day, like if they, do whatever you want to do, and even though technically speaking it wasn't 100% a success because things are still censored, they did get variations of the outfits that were the original outfits, right? Just in like different colors. So maybe that's like a accommodation that they're getting. I still believe that the extra violence is censored, and they didn't change the hard R stuff back. So, I still think the game is censored in that respect.
There's a lot more blood on people, right? Like,
yeah,
I remember. That's still a change. That should come back a little bit, but
yeah,
I
I don't have issues with most aspects of violence. There are just certain aspects where I'm like, I don't like that, and so that's my thing. Like, I am not an extremist, so I don't have an all or nothing mentality like so many other people do, and I don't understand. Actually, I do understand why some people have that kind of mentality, because if you listen to them talk long enough, you kind of get an idea of where they're coming from, where they fall in terms of street smart or academically successful. There's like different levels to it when you're hearing people speak. You know what I'm saying? So, you kind of get an idea of where people may fall in that regard. You see how they may behave during, let's say, debates, and whether or not they actually have good points or if they're just sitting there egging other people on while not actually adding anything of value to the conversation. So you kind of get an idea of like, okay, why do you have this perspective? Because if you ask someone to explain why they are okay with the idea of all censorship is bad, and then you bring up certain things like pedophilia or sexual assault, and then they still try to defend that. It's just like, you don't think that's a little bit strange that you have such a staunch defense on that? Like, I don't really, it makes me look at them differently in the sense that it's like, okay, well, you're not someone who I'd want to be
Around.
Anywhere
close
near.
friends with. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, you're not someone I want to be around because you are so entrenched in this concept of it's an extremist perspective, in my opinion. And I feel like people are there are people who are extremely Puritan. So I saw people complaining about all the sex in Bridgerton. I was like, don't watch then. All right.
Yeah, pretty
Don't
much.
watch, you know. I saw another post where someone was saying, hey guys, you think that society is just getting more sexualized lately? Like, they haven't seen a fucking beer commercial from 15 years ago. There's this beer commercial where, oh my god, like, she's like, okay, so it's like a beer sitting on what looks like a table, right? And it's like rocking back and forth, right? And then a hand comes out from the front, drinks the beer, right? A hand comes out from the back, drinks the beer, and then a hand comes out from the bottom to grab the beer. And the implication is that it's three guys railing a girl. And that was a fucking trailer. And that was from years ago. I saw it in a fucking one of my classes. We were doing like a dissection of like media. You know, that's where I first saw that shit. But people
Or
are
the
talking
Skittles
about
trailers back in the day. Those,
like,
yeah.
things have always been sexualized, you know? So it's like the fact that people are even saying that fucking nonsense, just like, dude, you're like 15. Get off fucking Twitter, dude, you know? But anyway, I just feel like I don't like the Puritan culture. I find that regressive. And I also don't like people who are super like, yeah, I want to see lolicon too. I'm like, please keep your fucking sexual proclivities to yourself. There are so many people who have strange kinks, and I'm just like, keep that shit to yourself, man, because they want to act like their fucking kinks aren't fucking weird. Your kinks are weird to normal society, but you acting like they're not weird because you want to be accepted because you know your fucking kinks are disgusting is annoying. Just accept the fact that you're a freak and move on. Like, keep your shit to yourself, man. There's some things that are taboos that you should just keep to yourself. Nobody needs to know about your proclivities. It's the same where people were talking about fucking that goddamn dude who turned into a bear. I don't need to know that. All right, keep that shit to yourself. Okay, but that's just me. That's just me. I'm just saying. All right, maybe again, I just think that there are some things you should be private about. You don't need to be sharing your fucking proclivities with everyone you know. I still believe in polite society in that regard because, I definitely adhere to the work persona kind of mindset. And I wish more people had that kind of mindset where it's like, there are certain things I don't talk about with people, even my friends. Like, the guys on here don't know a lot of things about me in terms of my private life, because they don't need to fucking know because I'm not dating any of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So anyway.
Also, what's crazy is that anybody who has a normal job nowadays, if you sign an employment contract, 1,000,000,000% it has a social media clause in it. And the only reason you haven't gotten fired for the crazy, weird, disturbing shit that y'all do on social media is because you don't matter enough to the company for them to look. Like,
as soon as you embarrass them in some way, and then people going, and this douchebag works at blah blah blah
right.
blah 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 blah, they will be like, yep.
Yeah, the same reason you see all these people getting fired because of something they do that blows up on social media is because they violated that clause. They're not firing them just because they're firing them because they violated that clause. That way they can legally get it over with. Like I said, the only reason most of y'all still have jobs is because you don't matter enough to the company for them to look. And you haven't done anything detrimental enough to where somebody else is like, hey, this idiot works for your company. But people are weird. Just to let y'all know. Y'all should probably rein in that being a really fucking weirdo shit. Y'all should rein that in. Just a little bit. Just slightly. It's okay to keep it to yourself.
That's all I'm saying is like there are just some like God, I fucking hate to sound like it, but like when I see some people sharing some of the disgusting things that they're into and then they get backlash and it's like, why are you surprised you're getting backlash? This is a fucking taboo. This is a fucking kink, man. Like back in my day, you know, like come on, man. You can't be surprised about this shit happening. And it's like extremes on both ends, right? Like I said, the super fucking SJWs and super fucking anti-SJWs. There's always somebody on each end of the spectrum just acting like a fucking freak. And you know, but that's just me. That's just me. Okay. Maybe I just have like a low opinion on certain things. I just get annoyed about certain things. I don't know. But anyway, that's just my opinion on that. Good for them getting their outfits. I'm always for people banding together to stick it to these corporations and in one way or another. It is what it is. I wish y'all would band together on things that actually fucking matter though, you know, like these goddamn microtransactions, but no. Maybe you guys can band together to, you know, to change Yasuke's features to George Floyd or something like that. Oh, right. Oh, wait, we're already doing that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I blocked that dickhead who did that immediately.
I can't believe that was even a real. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, like this isn't a little weird. And then like people are like, oh, it's just a joke. I'm like, can you explain the joke? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the point, I guess you could say. Like, why you would take time out of your day to do something like that. I don't get it. But it's not for me to get, I guess. But what I'm referring to, guys, is that there's this YouTuber. He might have done it or someone else did it for him, but they like edited Yasuke's face to be George Floyd's face, right? And everyone's like kiki ha-haing about it. I'm just like, oh, I don't understand. Like, what's funny though? Like, I don't get the joke.
They can't define what's funny because doing so just makes them look like the racists that they are. So they just kind of go, oh, what's the big deal? Just start deflecting. You know what the big deal is, you dickhead. So yeah, I just blocked the person who uploaded it on Twitter. I was just like, I'm not even going to engage with this foolishness.
Yeah, some of the people I saw like that was replying to it. Also, they're like, ha ha ha, and just like putting like laughing. Yeah. This is sick to me, but it's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it, so you took a fictional, not fictional. You took a real life character, a real life person, historical person that is being put into a video game, and you decide to take their face and switch it out for a man who has passed away.
Two real life people.
Yeah, two real life black people.
You took actual people.
And you took a real life black person's face, a person who was murdered by police, and you decided to put it on this character's face. It's just like, if I search George Floyd on your Twitter account and through your profile, what results am I going to get? Should I be shocked or should be just expecting the kind of tomfoolery that you seem to be presenting with this trailer? Like, it's pretty obvious where these people lean.
Yeah, it's very strange. Okay. Yeah, but like, oh, okay. Anyway, so I mean, sucks to suck. People need to start thinking about how these things may affect them one way or another, right? So anyway, we can just move on. Oh, okay. So Neil Druckmann had his interview completely misconstrued, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they like literally just made shit up. Like
they just made
it up, you know? They were projecting their own feelings onto onto him. I will say this: the people who were defending the fake quote, though, and just like, well, he could do this. He could be. I need y'all to get off that man's dick, please.
Yeah.
Get off that man's dick. It's embarrassing at this point. I don't think anyone should say like that. He didn't say it, but I don't think anyone should say like, what did he say? Redefine gaming as a whole or some shit. I don't fucking remember. I don't know what the quote was, but he didn't
redefine mainstream perceptions of gaming or.
Oh, right a sec. Okay, wait a second. And like actually in the context of redefining mainstream game context. Okay, oh my god. Please repeat what you said.
Redefine mainstream perceptions
of gaming. In the context of what he said, that actually makes perfect fucking sense. Because he's talking about mainstream as in normies, you know, redefining normies' perception of what gaming is. And he was talking about the Fallout TV show and how people are getting into that, and the Last of Us TV show, and how people are like, oh, these are games too. That's cool. Let me like, I didn't know that gaming was more than just like nerds sitting in their basement jerking it and just you know what I'm saying? I didn't realize that these games could have like interesting and compelling stories. Like that's cool. Like that's what he was referring to. But people like the way they
if you reduce that down to one sentence, then it kind of loses all the meaning. I remember I read his long statement, and then but it's just the fact that you would take his statement and then paraphrase it in a way instead of just letting him say what he had to say. I understand if he meant like he meant to say like the name of a game, but he said a different name of the game. You want to edit that part so he's not like sounding completely off. That's fine. But like when you basically take a long statement and then you reduce it to like one paragraph, and you're losing a lot of the meaning of what he was saying. And the fact that this wasn't like IGN that did this or GameStop, Spot, or whoever, or like any other games media publication. This was his own company. This was Sony.
He's got ops, man. He's got ops in that company.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I mean, I think the next game he makes is definitely going to be a head turner, visually, technically, story wise. That remains to be seen. But I just think that like Sony did him a disservice with
100%. I think so too. Again, I think he has ops there, man.
Yeah, he's got to watch his back. You know, he got people out here putting him on Front Street for no reason. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely intended.
Yeah, I don't particularly like Neil Druckmann, but I think that what they did was wrong. Ultimately, like they should not have lied on him like that. Let his words speak for themselves. Like you don't got to do stuff like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyway, we can just get these channel member topics and fucking leave, dude. Like I can't wait to brush my teeth and lay down for the rest of the night. All right. So, shout out to my guy watching Peak. Singer, I'm surprised you didn't have anything to say about Cuckman.
Cuckman. I see where Sloan will be getting his names from now.
Yeah, it's weird. Like if you read the full like I'm reading it right now, like the full quote. I don't know how they got from A to B.
They don't like him, dude. I'm telling you, it has to be someone who does not fucking like him.
Yeah, that's weird, man.
It's like, let's take these last three sentences, delete, take half of the what's left, delete, revolutionize. Like somebody was just giggling as they was typing up these words in his name. He's like, he wakes up one day, he looks at Twitter. Fuck Neil Druckmann. What did I do now?
Oh man, come on. All right. Okay. So Ronald, let's see here. thoughts on the mother getting upset. And the reason I'm reading these out of order is because they're in a different order on my phone, right? And my phone is showing all the comments, right? But thoughts on the mother getting upset that her son did not get an award. It was alleged that the mom was told the son would get one. Oh, that's not good. But part of me thinks that this is one of those participation trophy moments. What are your thoughts about giving participation trophies, self-esteem awards, etc.? Are we too scared to teach our kids about competition, or are we just going to settle and tell them that they can be a gamer if they talk about games? So this is how I feel about participation trophies. I am in the generation that started that. I am the participation trophy generation, right? So that is a millennial generation mindset. Mind you, even though I'm part of the generation that started receiving participation trophies, who did we receive them from? The fucking Gen Xers, okay? So they started that goddamn trend and it trickled down to the rest of us, okay?
Oh, wow. He's way to pass the buck. Go ahead.
I mean, okay, if I'm in elementary school and I receive an award just for existing, who's giving me the award, Slow-Mo?
You don't have to accept it.
Okay, all right.
You don't have to accept it.
I'm in elementary
You
school.
don't have to accept it.
I'm in elementary school.
And you still don't have it accepted.
My development is not on par with an adult in theory, right? So okay. So Gen Xers started that trend. And so millennials grew up thinking, listen, I fucking hate to say, obviously it's not every single millennial because I'm a millennial myself. I don't like participation trophies. I think participation trophies are for fucking losers. If you didn't earn it, then you don't deserve it. All right. And I'm saying this as someone who is not competitive. I am not a competitive person. I did not do any sports or anything like that. Like, what a hassle for me personally. Right. I don't like the idea of being given something just because I'm existing. Like, what's the point? What, like, there's no point. Like, you want to like coddle people's feelings. Come on. I don't think that's good for building a healthy mindset and for building an achiever mindset as an adult, right? You know what I'm saying? Just being handed everything to you. So I don't like participation trophies, especially for the people who do work hard and who do put that effort in. I think hard work deserves to be rewarded. You know, I know that not in every case, hard work is not rewarded in every case, obviously, but I think that the people who put in the work should be rewarded. If you put forth the effort, you're actually passionate about what you're doing, you care about what you're doing, you deserve the reward, not people who are just cucking about and just like, oh, thank you for I get an award just for existing. I don't like it. As someone who grew up in that culture, I don't like it. And what do you guys think?
Well, I guess let me just say this real quick. Gen X isn't big enough to cause this problem. The boomers are like 3 times the size of Gen X, and the millennials are also bigger than Gen X. So some of these millennials with this mindset got it from boomers, not from Gen X.
Who are the parents though?
They're probably boomers.
Who are the teachers? I mean, the teachers.
And the teachers are definitely boomers. The teachers are old as hell.
The teachers would be a mix of Gen X and boomers, because my teachers were not dust age when I was growing up.
That's you.
Gen Xers.
My teachers was dust as hell.
Okay, so just because your teachers are dust as hell doesn't mean it was the boomers teaching that mindset. Also,
they are way bigger than the other generation.
That your teachers will be old as hell, dude. You're near Gen X. You are 42, 43 years old. Obviously, your teachers will be boomers, Slow-Mo.
Luca.
Obviously.
Gen X, for Gen X to be the ones that have taught the millennials to put this whole, hey, as long as you were in it involved, you get a trophy. They would have to be like they would literally have to be all the teachers everywhere in order for that's just not possible. They weren't that big of. Gen X is not that big of a generation. And the only reason we're talking about this is you tried to pass the buck instead of because clearly, if we're talking about this mother, if we're talking about this mother and her son, how old are they?
I said that it started with the millennials. The millennials started growing up with the participation trophy. Unless you want to tell me, did you guys get participation trophies when you were growing up?
No. Absolutely not.
You guys are 10 years older than me, right?
Right.
So I'm a millennial. Okay.
So
it's the Gen Xers and boomers. It's a mix of Gen X and boomers. Because my teachers were not super old.
I am Gen X. I know that Gen X is kind of big, but still.
I understand. I'm saying that
they weren't teaching.
When I was in elementary school, You're saying that the Gen Xers were not teaching?
Not to this degree. No.
What is the oldest?
I mean, do you guys think there's an
Are
eight?
you saying that there are no teachers who were Gen Xers? Like, what are you saying?
I did not say that. I said they weren't at that time frame. Don't cut me. Hey,
you cut me off first.
You asked me a question.
You cut me off first though. So don't do the whole don't tell like seriously, like this is the conversation. So you're not even technically.
You started the conversation.
I did, and you're the one who's all like, "Wait, what? Don't blame the Gen Xers." Like, are you serious? Like,
yeah, because you're wrong. It's clearly the boomers.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
We'll give you both a trophy. You're both right. Look, your guys are both right. Now you go.
I know
get
that
a
we're
trophy.
both right.
No, see, this is what I'm talking about. 3 minutes. This is like.
Anyway, we can just move on with that. So, I don't like the participation award generation mindset that got trickled down to the Gen Zers, and that got trickled down to Generation Alpha, which they have some other issues going on. They got other issues.
Who is Gen Alpha? Who are they?
The toddlers. So under 11 years old. I just what?
Oh, that's my daughter. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
she's a genius though. So
I had this conversation with my wife the other day where she was like, you don't be letting us win stuff. And I said that is true because I raise winners, not existers. So I don't let my kids win. They catch L's, they catch all these hands. You gonna get better at me, better than me, or you gonna catch an L.
Maslin, I have a question.
What's up?
So that kind of mindset, who was around to teach you that kind of mindset? Was that like, and I'm using teach loosely because boomers did not raise y'all. So, but like, who was around to teach you?
Hey, hold on, wait.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna.
Wait. So yourselves. Wait.
Both of you.
Wait. Sorry. Hold on. Sorry. So yourselves, as in Gen Xers, right? Gen Xers taught the competitive mindset, right?
So I'm gonna help both of you. Watch.
Okay.
So you're both right in this aspect, right?
Okay.
We were taught no participation trophies by the boomers. However, the boomers are our parents. They raised us hard, but for their grandkids, they are the softest people on the fucking planet.
Yep.
Like I don't even know my mother. She is not the same person that raised me.
That's fair.
I raised my voice to my kids in my house, and she yelled at me, saying that I scared her babies. So, I was like, I got my ass. I don't know how this happened. How are we here? So,
I definitely agree with that. But I'm just saying, like, for me personally, my experience, my teachers were not old. Like,
sure, but the principal was. The superintendent was. And those were the people who decided to give funding to give people participation trophies.
The school systems, like the board of education of your counties.
The ones who made the rules were old.
They're all old.
You can't teach make our grandbabies think they not winners.
Yeah, my mom was a teacher.
You're both right. You're both right in the generation that started it, and the generation where the teachers were a mix of boomers and Gen Xers, but the
teacher's not in charge.
And said, we're gonna give y'all all money to make sure everybody get a trophy. Those people were definitely boomers, and they were thinking about their grandkids, not their kids.
Yeah, my mom was a teacher for 50 years. My aunt, most of my family are full of teachers, and whether they boomers, Gen X, all throughout that, they're all different generations. But one thing is consistent is them complaining about curriculum, complaining about like people out of touch, not understanding what these kids are, not understanding really much about education, kind of laying down the law on what you teach. And not being able to kind of like teach what you want to teach, say what you want to say, to kind of get some kids who are struggling with certain things, whether it be education and social, family issues, whatever, what they need, all of the restrictions that come in place and everything that you have and the teacher has to do in the classroom is all being regulated by people who sit on the board. and all of those people are definitely boomers. Like they have the power and control to run things the way they are. They make a lot of money, and then they don't make sure they staying on that board. Like they're not getting off. Like it's going to take death
Also,
to get them
Slow-mo,
out
how
of
old
there.
are you?
42.
42? You're a
Three.
millennial, by the way.
Hold on.
43? Okay,
Hold
so
on.
you're on the cusp of a millennial.
How
and
old am
also
I?
You don't know how old you are?
One of those 40. Hold up. What the year is this?
Okay, well, he's old enough to not know how old he is.
43 years old. So I'm at the end of Gen X from what I saw.
You're at the beginning of Gen X.
No, end.
You're at the beginning of Gen X.
No. Didn't Gen X begin in like 1960 something? What? Generation X.
But like I said,
No,
that's
because
why
the
I said
oldest
y'all both right.
millennial, the
It's
oldest
because-
millennial is 42.
Like I said, y'all both right because the grandparents are the ones who made the decision to start including everybody and getting the participation trophies. They're the ones who told everybody to do it. Now, whether
Okay, wait,
or not
hold on. People, you guys are
the Gen
you
Xers
guys. He's 43.
grabbed
Sorry,
onto that.
he's 43. Millennial, the oldest millennial is 42. He is at the beginning of the Gen Xers.
You know what? I'm an 80s baby. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Wait,
for
you're an
us
80s baby?
80s, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was born in 81. So
Oh, okay.
January of 81. So yeah, look. The last time I looked at this,
no,
it
you're
said,
at the latest. You're at the oldest.
huh?
Wait, you're at the sorry, you're the youngest member of Gen X, but you're at the end of the line.
Yes, yeah. That's all of them. Like it was like when Gen X ended, it was like February of 1981 or some crap like that. Like I was just I just got in.
And I know that you would know, Fonz. I know that you would know, King. It's good to see you. Anyway,
But no. I just to
you're
kind of
barely,
get back to what we're
a
talking.
Gen Xer, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, look.
Look, you're barely a Gen Xer. That's just how it is, you know.
Thank you. Anyway, so
it's like my siblings talk about how they're millennials, but they're Gen Z because they're on the cusp of being millennials, and I'm just like, but you're not though. You're Gen Zer.
Okay.
Participation trophy. That was the point. Get to the point.
Thank you for trying to. Yeah, this it's detrimental to how these kids are, and I still see that like a lot of that going on now. I'm raising kids, and last year I didn't want to coach, but here's another problem with these damn millennials. They don't ever want to do shit for their kids. Like they want to talk that talk, but then when it comes to who wants to volunteer and coach?
Fucking facts.
Who wants to? I don't want to. There's no one else is going to step up, man. None of y'all ever want. I'm always the parent that has to look. I played a lot of sports, so I already know a lot to teach. But then it's like some sports is like I don't know what the. All right, I'm getting books. I'm learning. I'm trying to figure out how to teach them stuff, and it's just like ain't none of these damn millennial parents ever want to do anything but sit on the bleachers and wonder why their kid ain't playing. Kid ain't playing because your kid sucks. They unathletic because they got your genes. So blame yourself, right? But
I'm glad that the boomers didn't raise y'all. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, because they didn't raise nobody.
I'm glad that y'all had to raise yourselves. That's great.
Yeah, we did. We had to take ourselves to school. We worked jobs and everything while we were full-time students. Anyway, look, the point I'm trying to make is that that mom's wrong. I don't know the story in particular, but if her son came in 5th place, then he don't deserve anything. What he needs to deserve is somebody to take him outside and whatever sport or whatever thing he was doing and helping him get better. Because I just don't understand that. My oldest, who's 14 now, when he started running track, his form was terrible. His coach wasn't teaching him anything because he just wrote him off because he's like, I don't know, like he can't. He looks athletic, but he ain't running well. Me and him went out to a community college track. I ran track when I was in high school. I told him how to run. 2 weeks later, he's winning track meets. Now all of a sudden, his coach wants to pay attention to him. Like, oh, hey, Nick, great job. Shut up. You didn't do anything. like he did that. I taught him that.
How old is the
That
coach?
hmm.
The coach? How old is the coach?
He was like 30s, early 30s. So what I'm saying is that like that mentality of like it could have been, oh well, you know, my son came in 4th place in that last meet. How come he didn't get a ribbon? No, he came in 4th place. 3 people outran his ass. He didn't deserve to get anything but to come over, sit beside me, and figure out what we're going to do next to make sure he comes in first. Like this is, it's not just like being competitive. It's happening from some damn self-respect. Like, do you want to be good, or you just want to get, you know, hey, you showed up.
You want to know the funniest part?
You wrote your name on the paper.
You want to know
job.
the funniest part of the story you just told? The coach tried to get a participation trophy for your son doing well.
Yes, he sure did.
That's the funniest part of what just happened.
Could barely remember my kid's name until he came in 1st place. He was like, "Damn, who's
He
that?"
tried to get a participation trophy for him doing better.
I actually want to amend my statement because Fonz brought up a good point. That participation trophy stuff was was probably more so seen in suburban areas, and I'm a suburbanite. So I don't actually think it's fair for me to say that it was like that for other millennial kids, because maybe it wasn't in areas that, because I grew up in like an affluent area, you know? So like, because Fonz is saying like in hood schools where he went, at least, they had ballers on the court and football fields. Participation wasn't even a thing if you were trash. And it's making me think of like, okay, maybe obviously things would be different based on the area that you grow up in. And it's I'm glad that you're here, because that is like a, you were raised differently. Like not everyone has the same upbringing as you do, and I did not consider that it would be different in different
do you
areas.
guys think there should, I mean, there's obviously an age range. Do you guys think that there should be participation trophies? Like obviously someone who's like a kid, or you think from the jump that like even if it's like a painting class when they're like 2 years old, like you need to, and it's like a competition.
Okay, I mean, like if they're babies, then no.
I don't even want 2nd place trophies. Like okay. 2nd place is like just like you're the first loser. Like you're
not first, you're last.
Yeah, it's just like if anything, I remember when I ran track and I got 2nd place. I never kept that. Like I never kept that stuff. Like I was mad coming in 2nd place because all I thought about was like I was that close to first.
Because it does punish the person. Like I do agree. Like if you're giving someone a trophy for being first and also giving someone a trophy for being last, and you are celebrating them basically on the same level, then you're almost punishing the person that is in 1st place. Now,
you're definitely punishing.
You are punishing.
And what's the motivation? Like, not everyone is motivated like internally. There's some people who just like they don't need an external like force. Like like Michael Jordan used to use whatever to motivate him. He's like, I took that personally, and it's just like it was nothing. Like some dude just like didn't hear him and didn't say hi, and Michael Jordan's like, I'm gonna drop 60 on this fool tonight, and it's just like there was no need for that, Mike. He just didn't hear you. But like there are other people that like they need external motivation. Also, and go ahead.
Growth comes from perseverance. Like if you always win, like metaphorically, if you always win, then you're never going to grow. You're never going to get better. You're never going to try to overcome your shortcomings because you got the same level of rewards as everyone else. So you can't teach children, especially in their formative years, because you're talking about kids being younger and getting participation trophies. Then that's when you want to form the mentality that I need to improve. I need to get better. I need to put more focus on this thing so I can make it better so that I can be first now. That's the time when you're trying to make those formative decisions. If you wait and give them all a bunch of participation trophies early, then by the time they're in the mode where everybody else is separated, they don't have that drive because they never had to build it up when they were young.
Yeah. I remember when I played played football growing up all the way through, till I got to high school and everything. And I remember when I was probably 13, and they were handing out, they gave the team trophies out. Everybody on the team got the trophy, no matter what. No matter what the record was, everybody got a trophy. Basically, the biggest participation award. But then there was a section at the end where the real trophies were given out to the people that like stood out and went above and beyond, and like the all-stars of the team and everything. And I was like, this sucks. I don't want this trophy. I want that trophy. So it goes both ways. It driven me to like want to get better when I saw stuff like that, but it's the way that it's implemented. If it's not implemented the correct way, all you're doing is showing people that, hey, just being there is good enough. And I'm like, no, being like, I spent too much time. You think about how much time you spent doing that particular thing, and to feel like the award wasn't worth the actual time invested. So it was like, for me, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, never again. I need those awards going forward. And that's kind of how I did it. So it's like a self-motivating thing, but we can't expect people to like, especially nowadays where half the people don't do this and they don't go outside and video games this and that's all the thing. How are you what is the motivation to drive themselves? That's like what's really truly missing amongst the people nowadays, compared to when we were older. You had to kind of fight for every little thing.
I will say this though, I do think like Gregor makes a point, and I think this is more to your point, 3-Bit, where he said you can give encouragement and support without giving a trophy.
Right.
There's like a difference, because you don't want to verbally accost your child just because they didn't fucking win a competition. Like there's a way to do it without it coming off as you demeaning them. And I honestly think that like there are some dark sides to the no participation trophy kind of mindset as well, because as people start to get older, they are less likely to slow down or ask for help, because for so long they've been in go mode. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like a balancing act in regards to how you choose to raise your child. But I don't believe in participation trophies. I think that people who work hard should be rewarded, and people who don't work hard should not get a reward for not working hard. Like, what, you didn't do anything, like. Okay, so we can just move on from that. Thanks for the question. Whoever that chick. Oh, but then again, if she was specifically told her kid would get an award, isn't that not like fucked up? Like, why would you tell her that?
Oh, no, that is messed up.
It was alleged the mom was told that. So like, we don't know for confirmation. Like, I don't even know who the story is, but based off of what Ronald said, it was alleged. So does she have proof that she was told he would get a trophy? Did he really deserve one? Like, did he come in? And I mean, like I said, like I wouldn't want it, but if he came in third place in something, they say, yeah, we're gonna give him a third place trophy, a little something, and then they don't do it, then like, yeah, that's messed up. Like they said they were going to do it and they didn't do it. But if this is like, this kid came in like 8th place, 8 out of 10, and he's supposed to get a ribbon and they just forgot the ribbons. So like it's just like, is it really worth this? Like, I don't know.
The issue would be is like if she told him that he was getting something, she shouldn't have said anything. But go ahead.
If I was her, if you told him he was going to get something and then they didn't provide it, like, hey, go out and buy it yourself and give it to him and say it was from them or something. I don't know. Like if it ain't that serious to be making this big a deal about it, where you're going on social media complaining about it. Like, it's not that, especially if it's a participation trophy kind of thing. She could have nipped this in the bud when they said, yeah, we're going to give him hey, he showed up and he tried, so we're going to give him something. I'm like, no, I can keep that.
Yeah, it was like, I was super proud of my daughter because she ran track this past year, and their last track meet was, I want to say her last one was Monday, and they did their award ceremony and pizza party and stuff on Wednesday this week, and there was a lot of kids were upset because I guess the same thing. They were under the assumption that everybody was going to get like something like a ribbon or something like that. But then Peyton, my daughter, told me, she was like, no, it was only meant for the people that made it to varsity. And the way that they did it is all grades could participate. It was a no-cut sport. So everybody that wanted to come out for track got on the track team.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, everybody that wanted to come off a track got on the track team, but it was no cut. So how you made varsity was based on your times. So if your times, the faster your times, you had to be in the top whatever percentage of the times in order to do varsity, which is the one that does the scoring. That's the scoring versus the other teams, who wins, who loses, and stuff like that. And then they have exhibition meets for everybody else. Now you can get yourself into varsity by running faster your exhibitions. If you get into the top percentage, then you'll start running varsity. My daughter literally missed it. She ran the 200, the 100, and the 70. She was 2 spots out of the 70. She was 4 spots out of the 100, and she was like 6 spots out of the 200. And she kind of felt the way about it. She was like, she missed it. They gave medals on average to what what the other people scored in all their events and stuff. They got medals and stuff like that. And I was super proud of her because it drove her. First thing she said when she got in the car was like, I am making varsity next year, and I'm coming in first place no matter what in something, because I don't want to feel like that again. Now, it wasn't that it was explained that they were supposed to get something, but it was just the fact that they didn't. It was kind of something that driven her, and I was kind of, you try not to like push that competitive edge on your kids because you really don't know if that's something they really want to do. But that showed me like, okay, she's serious about this. So look, we gonna really train, and we're going to really practice, and we're going to get out there and get you a little bit faster over the course of the next year. So when you run track next year, we can make that happen.
Oh, I love to hear that. That's awesome.
But that's that big. I want to tell you, I'm sitting in the car driving home, and I literally I felt like a tear coming down my eye, because you never know. You never know how your kids take certain things. And I'm glad she took it a way of saying, okay, that sucks, but I'm going to be better next year, and I'm going to get that award next year.
Damn, that's awesome. I love that kind of like go-getter mentality. I think that's great. Yeah, so but yeah, let me amend my statement. That participation trophy aspect had to do with suburbanites. That's just how I was raised. I am a suburbanite. I feel like people can tell based on how I talk. I feel like people have an idea of the environment I was raised in based on how I talk. So the environment I was raised in, participation trophy. Oh God. I'm just thinking about like how my high school team never won any competitions for basketball. Football team was also a bust. But then again, I was at a different school by then. So
I think also I'm gonna go back to the lack of support from parents. I think is a part of the problem with kids today, because I don't think parents care enough to, like, if their kid wants to be really good at a particular sport, or if they like, failure shouldn't be looked at as failure, but more of like another opportunity to do it better. It's just a setback. Like, and I don't think the kids today view things that way. I think they get down when they don't come out on top at like the very first time they try things. Like, I think a lot of these kids today think they're just going to be the best at everything, and it's like, that's not reality. Reality is you're going to suck in the beginning, and you need to get good. You need to learn to get better. And if you aren't getting there right away, you need to find how to get better and then work on that. Like the repetition, the practice. That's what it's about. When I was a freshman in high school, I tried out for the basketball team and got cut. For JV, I got cut. I was mad. I went to one of the coaches. Why you cut me? You don't have a left hand? You can't dribble with your left hand? That's what that means? You don't have a left hand? You all your shots, you only shoot from certain spots, and it's obvious. And it was like, you need to work on your handles, work on your game, because at the time I'm like, I wasn't big enough to be a forward or a center. It was like, if you're a guard, you can't dribble. We ain't got nothing for you here. But told me what to do. I went and got a tennis ball and started dribbling everywhere I went when I would go jogging.
The tennis ball, I love it,
bro. Like
the tennis ball, I love that, bro.
I mean, you have to have a plan to get better. You can't just throw yourself at things.
Yeah, you know what? I do
and
agree
just
with you.
keep trying without actually knowing what
man,
it takes to be better.
That brings
Yeah.
back memories,
I
bro.
agree with you with support, because when I was mentoring those young Black boys, uh, the program that they were in is like a accelerated program, right? Like
Mhm.
they have to interview and be accepted for it, right? And when I was talking to them, all of them had aspirations in sports and aspirations in technology, right? So some of them were in robotics classes. Some of them, like I remember I was talking to one of the boys and he was telling me about the work that he puts in as a on the basketball team, right? And these kids are like 13, 14, 15. So I definitely think that this the kind of support that you receive also plays a factor in that.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it depends
Man,
on everybody has a different childhood, I guess. Like we have many things that we can relate to, but everyone's childhood is different. So I'm
it's just
very
having people there. It's just having people there to like help you get to where you want to get to, and that's the hardest thing to, find to get motivation from outside of yourself. Like, I was blessed to be able to have people that when they saw me play or saw me do this, and they was like, "Oh, you need to do this a little bit better." When I was getting ready to go to high school, we would go into the gym of the high school, and I was an 8th grader, so the basketball coach would see us there. And when we would be playing, he was like, right over the summer, he was like, "Are you coming out to play basketball next year?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, definitely." So he gave us a piece of paper and he said, put your shoe size and stuff on it, because that's kind of how they did their recruiting stuff. And he was like, "Before you come here, I want you to work on your left hand." He was like, "You can dribble with your left hand, you just can't finish with your left hand." I think because that's the biggest thing with right-handed people. And
Mhm.
that was his biggest thing. He was like, "I see you move really good with the ball. You cut off dribble, you pass, you do everything you need to do. I need you to consistently work on your left hand when it comes to finishing at the basket with your left hand." And I literally, when he told me that, I was like, at first I'm like, dude, the basketball coach of the high school literally just asked if I want to play. You weren't even thinking about the things he said at first. But then when it kind of hit, I was like, dog, I got to get into the gym, started dribbling. And literally that whole summer, all I did was work with my left hand. And I played basketball, I played football too. So even when I would throw the ball to myself, because I was like wide receiver quarterback, I would throw the ball with my left hand just to get used to like the motion of doing something with my left hand consistently all the time. But that's that thing that kind of drives you. But I wouldn't have been driven like that if that opportunity didn't happen and somebody show and tell me that, hey, before you do this, this is what I think you should do. And you take that type of stuff to heart. It is great when it happens.
Yeah, I think hearing voices like that always helps. I've seen and taught kids who were in an environment that wasn't very good for them. Like they would have people constantly tell them that they couldn't do something. So I see that
Mhm.
as well. Like I've
Mhm.
taught in some schools, I'm like where kids would like tease them if they are interested in anything like technology based, art. Literally, they'll tease them for anything they're interested in. So
And that is them who've been told they can't do anything and you're worthless and you're never going to amount to nothing,
Right.
projecting those words onto other people because they don't want to see other people actually showing a willingness to learn and do other things and to have talent and things that they were told they couldn't do.
Right.
It's a terrible cycle. Last thing I wanted to say, I know Luca wants to move on. My cousin played in the NFL, and
That's what's up.
when he was 14, he told his father, "I want to be an NFL football player." And his father was like, "If you're serious about this, I'm going to push you, and sometimes you're gonna hate me, but if you say yes, I will do everything within my power to get you there." He said yes. The very next day, he was waking him up at 5 a.m. so they could go running and work out and lift before he went to school. And they did that every single day. He got him a subscription to the All 22. He had him learning film. He had him doing everything possible. And I mean, from where he was, like the dude freaking like he did pretty good. He got in the NFL. He didn't stay very long, but he made it there.
Hey, but you made it.
Right.
Not too many. Most people don't.
Most people don't, right?
I'm gonna get in. He didn't say he was gonna stay. So.
Yeah.
Well, listen, he did
He had a
everything.
good 3 years. He had a good 3 years.
Listen, the average career in the NFL is 3 years, and he made it 3 years.
Yep, he got his pension.
Exactly. He got his pension. That's all that mattered.
So, but yeah, like it takes that dedication, and it also takes support. It takes somebody, because if he was just by on his own, there probably was going to be some days where he was just too sore, too tired, too much schoolwork and studying. I'm not going to do it this morning. Then maybe that turns into the next day and the next day. We all know how it is when you miss a day and you just start, like, it becomes a kind of like a ball rolling downhill, like
sure.
Yeah, but like his father was like, "Nah, get up. Nah,
no.
you going like you going to hate me, but you going to do what I tell you. Let's go. Let's run." And his father wasn't even running. He was in the car behind him.
Oh, he was
so he's probably mad about that too. But still, in the grand scheme of things, I know he looks back on that and he's very thankful. So
he got to live his dream.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
That's what's up.
All right, so okay, okay, let's see here. Shout out to Scrotum saying, okay, so just watched Dune parts 1 and 2 for the first time. I thought the first one was pretty slow and boring. Oh no, let's cut off the comment. Let's cut the rest of the comment.
No, he right. He right. The first one was boring as hell at the beginning.
Excuse me?
He's right.
Okay, don't let me start. It is not boring. It's compelling from beginning to end. From beginning to end, it's compelling.
No.
Yes.
I don't know if some of you guys
so
just like
beginning.
your attention spans are so low that like anytime people are just standing still and not stabbing or shooting one another, that the dialogue said just goes in one ear and out the other.
But see, this is the thing though. I'm not about to be a hypocrite. It's boring because the first part of the movie is boring. Just like the first part of A New Hope of Star Wars is boring. Because all the stuff that they're doing is the exposition, talking about the story, the development, the politics, and everything like that. And there's nothing wrong with it, because guess what? When you go back and watch it a second time after because the thing is, most people watched it, probably did what he did, fall asleep or something in the first few minutes or the first hour of the movie. And then you finish watching the rest of the movie and you're like, yo, why couldn't the rest of the movie be this good? And then you go back and you watch the movie again, knowing that it's going to have a slower part at the beginning, so you kind of just focus in on it, and then you realize that the movie is actually better than you thought it was. Because I think the first Dune movie is incredible, but let's be for real, the first hour of that movie is boring as hell. It's boring.
I'm not agreeing with that.
It's boring to me.
I read the books, and I was.
The books ain't got nothing to do with it, because the books they tell a completely different story.
What?
The books tell a completely different. The way that the story is told in the books is more fleshed out in the books.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is in all books. It's more.
That's what I'm saying. So the books can't be boring if it's more stuff in the books.
Forte, did you read the book?
Is there more in the book, Slobo?
Did you read the book?
No, let me ask you the question. No.
Answer my
yes
question.
Or no? Did you read the book? Did you read the book?
No, I didn't read the book.
What are you talking about? How are you going to definitively say?
No.
This guy.
Are we literally going to say that a book adaptation of a movie there's not more in the book than there?
Obviously, there's more in the book.
That's
like
I said.
Why would you even bring it up as a point? There's always more in the book for every single film.
He brought up the book. No, he brought up the book, and I said the books. Why would the book be boring? I brought up the book because I brought up the book because I already knew the story, and I was very excited to get into everything that was going on from the very beginning when they first showed Paul on his home planet.
That's
That
why.
doesn't mean that the movie is going to be good. You could be excited for anything when you read the book. I understand
everything
that.
is subjective. So when one person is excited, doesn't mean someone else is going to be. But for the fact that you're like,
how you feel.
No, you did discount how I feel, and then two, you also definitively said that the movie wasn't like the book, and you didn't even read the book.
I misspoke when I said that. You heard me.
We know you did.
Okay, well, if I misspoke, then you can't say that I said that. I just misspoke. I misspoke. I said that.
Okay.
I misspoke, but I was meaning to say that the books always have more stuff going on that is more exciting than you get to the movie. The movie is putting it, when you go to the movies, you want to see the adaptation put on screen, and you want to see how it's portrayed on the screen, and you want to see, are they going to be how loyal to the actual dialogue that you read in the book is going to be to the screen. Of course, stuff's going to get cut out because they're not going to show you everything that happens in books on screen. There's a lot of cool things that happen in a lot of different books that you'll never see on a screen, because it's just, how are they going to do it, or how are they going to portray it, or are they going to break it up into 5 or 6 different storylines? But for me, like I said, Dune is a great movie. I said Dune 2 is the greatest sci-fi movie I've ever seen in my life. I said that. I told you that Star Wars couldn't even hold a candle to what Dune 2 did.
The first 20 minutes of Dune Part 1 are almost 1-for-1 with what those sections in the book. So that's why I'm just like, when you say like the book is different, when it's like that's the most faithful part of the movie is like the beginning sections. They veer, here and there, a little bit, and they did so even more so with Dune Part 2, but it's nothing major. But I
think people had a problem with usually first movies are setup movies to the actual universe, and I think people, didn't vibe with having the movie explain what the world is, but you have to kind of explain what the world is, so okay, exactly. The world.
Yeah, it's necessary. You can't do without it.
That to me, but that wasn't boring to me. I liked the fact that they got to explain the world, and I'm like, okay, this is the world. All right, cool. Now I can understand when they get to those sections, when they get to the war, it has more of an impact because I actually understand like the characters. But
you realized that the first time through, and I commend you for that. For me, I didn't realize that because I was like, oh my God, why is this taking so long? And then when I went to go watch it again, then I realized it, because I already went into it with the notion of saying, I know this is slow at the beginning. So let me like literally hyper focus in on this so I can make sure I take in every bit of the story to see where they're going with this. And when I did that, I was like, oh, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Also, it's a continuation type movie. Like, we don't have very many of those. We have a lot of one and done trash movies where it's just exists and then they make a part 2 because part 1 made money. But this movie was meant to be parted out. It just wasn't conveyed that way. So whenever everybody watched 1, like if it didn't do well, they just never expected to see a part 2. And then, but it was already the whole set of movies was written out.
Yeah.
To be able to.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't even know there was going to be a Dune 2 because I didn't even know about it until I was like, oh, everybody's talking about this Dune movie. I didn't know what it was.
Most people just expect to see part 1 and everything get wrapped up in there, but this movie was written. Part 1 was written so that it'll explain everything, and then
in part 2 they can just get into it. Yeah, right. Because part 2 didn't have to do any of the other stuff. They just had you know who the actors are. You know what the stage is. You know what the stakes are. We're just telling the story now, and they did an excellent job of it. I think Doom Messiah is going to be even bigger. based off of the buildup of what they did with Dune, really setting the tone, and then Dune Part 2 being like just an amazing movie that everyone has universally loved. When Dune Messiah comes out, it's going to be freaking ridiculous. Yeah, especially when people realize, like, people already are Star Wars fans on like social media, like everything that I thought was real was a lie. Like, because they're just they're realizing that George Lucas stole from Frank Herbert. But when they see Dune Messiah, they're gonna be like, oh hell no.
Yeah.
That too? Like, they're gonna be like, he stole this too? It's gonna be so ridiculous. I can't wait. Because I love the mess of these Star Wars fans.
Yeah, all I know is when I watched it the first time, I watched it, I fell asleep, I woke up, finished watching it, then I went back and watched it again. And when I watched it the second time, I was like, "Oh, dang! I didn't know this was a two-part." Or I thought it was only two parts. I said, "Oh, it's going to be a second part to this movie." And then after doing some research, I said, "Oh no, this is a series of books." But I do agree with Matt when he said about the whole. Because Star Wars did the same thing with New Hope. New Hope was literally an open and closed book. You start with one thing and you end it by destroying the one thing in the universe that everybody was threatened by, which was the Death Star. So they could have ended it right then and there. Like, the story was all tied up for the most part, but I guess it was just they wanted to see how well it did to see if they would even continue to keep making them at that point.
Yeah.
So that makes it, and I never really thought about it until he just said that, because
we don't.
I literally didn't know
like
that there was
now.
a second Dune coming until I actually watched the movie. It was like, this is left really wide open for them to make another one, and then I found out they were making another one.
Yeah, like we don't get too many movies like that nowadays, so you don't go into watching these movies with that mindset. You go into this is going to be the movie that is going to happen, and it's going to end, and then we're going to move on to the next movie. But they wrote this to be a parted out series, and we just don't get those too much nowadays. So most people went into the first one with that mindset that this is going to be a one and done movie, and it's not.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right,
but it's great though.
Yeah, it is great. So, sorry, Scroat. My bad, buddy.
He started.
He nodded off at the first 20 minutes, but I really enjoyed the second one and thought the pacing was much better, and it kept me engaged pretty much the entire time. I'm looking forward to the next one. Slow-mo, I don't know if you saw my comment on the last pod, but in the first Hellblade, they have a chapter select now showing how many rune stones you've collected. In each, there are no rune stones in the darkness level.
Oh, interesting. So So for those who don't know, I assume the reason why everyone missed has that one achievement missing, which is collect all the rune stones, and that everyone seemed to have missed one, was because it must have been in the darkness level where you just literally couldn't see anything. But
it's in that cave. I missed it in that cave where you I guess it's before that chapter where you have the torch and you're basically lighting up the different sections inside that. I missed it in there. I was like, oh shoot, it's like in the far back.
Did you go back and get it?
Yeah, I went back and got my 1,000 right before.
I guess I'm gonna have to go in there and get it now. I didn't know that it actually showed you. Like, I know it had chapter select, but I didn't know it actually showed you the ones you were missing in the chapters. Because I thought you would have to guess.
Confused by that. Like, I didn't understand what the heck the symbols meant, but yeah, it's divided by chapters. Like each one of the lore stone, like the thing that kind of glows up. It's like if it's the top right, that's like the first chapter. If it's like the right, that's the second chapter. It just goes all around, and if you get it in order, then you're good.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, sweet. Slomo, I'm glad that we could come together to verbally accost Nautical for his ridiculous hot take. Like, goddamn, dude.
Listen, hey, what you gonna say? You the one that said he fell asleep first.
Oh, okay.
I agreed with him.
Listen, Scroat's my guy. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not your guy.
Oh, you're my guy too.
Oh,
but like, you be frauding. You be frauding because why would you bring the fucking books up when you didn't read them?
No, I didn't bring the book. No, I didn't bring the book up. Slomo brought the book up.
And you should have just left it alone because you didn't read them.
I didn't bring the book up though.
There's a matter. You didn't have to reply.
Just left it alone.
Go over in the corner and be quiet, Forte. I got you. Nautical, go corner.
When we talk books,
Go play.
you say nothing until you read them.
Go play with pirate ships over in the corner. I got you.
I haven't read the Messiah book, but I heard it's going to be a little bit harder to make that one.
Children of Dune is going to be harder to fucking adapt if they chose.
Yeah, but they'll have to get a new director because Denis said he's done after Messiah. But
and he should be, honestly.
Yeah, as I was saying in the chat to Saber, like a lot of subplots end at Messiah, so it's like Children of Dune kind of starts with a lot of brand new characters, I mean, there's some older characters there too, but it's just a lot of new storylines going on, and it's just if I'm a director, I ain't really trying to start over and building up new characters and a new thing that really ends up just like, do I really want to do? I forgot what's God Emperor Dune? Is that one after that? I can't quite remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Children
like
of Dune, God Emperor Dune.
and I don't think anybody wants to do God Emperor Dune. I don't even want to see it on screen. I kind of feel like it's going to be weird.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. But okay, let's just wrap this shit up real quick. Okay, and then shout out to real quick. Okay, and there's one more comment. Corey says, currently getting over the flu. I hope you feel better soon, buddy. Already one thing. There's no real cure for anything unless you're Magic Johnson. But with these new meds being advertised, who wants to grow extra limbs with the side effects? I hear you on that. Also, protect Kelly Rowland at all costs. And oh my god, the fact that this is not fucking loading is so annoying. But it says protect Kelly. Yeah, I saw the I don't remember what kind of fucking event it was, but like, did you guys see in like some event, some of the security guard was like ushering her along or whatever,
like blocking?
Yeah, like just
I think it's in it.
Yeah, like the security was just like being a fucking asshole or whatever, and Kelly Rowland got into like an argument with the security. And then she was like interviewed about it, and she's just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna like put up with people treating me like that, basically. So yeah, and that same security guard was like ushering another woman and got into another verbal altercation with somebody else. So I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, protect her at all costs.
He needs a new job is what he
Right.
needs.
They think they have more power than they are. They didn't make it into the police academy. And so the best thing they can do is be a security guard, and now they're mad, so they try to flex their power where they think they can. That was just a bad idea.
Yeah, apparently that security guard has a history of doing that, so I don't know why they're still working there.
Good.
All right, so all right. I'm sorry. I was getting a message from someone, one of my friends. Okay, Nautical outro.
Yo, Gaming Forte, YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation. DPS was lit. Come check us out Thursday, 9 p.m. with the homie Slow-Mo. Have your own opinions. Play the games you want to play. Have a good weekend, and we will see you guys next week.
Okay, and Maslin, thank you so much for coming. Sorry that you got caught up with me in Slow-Mo's argument with each other, and I interrupted you a bunch of times. My bad, brother.
You are good. As always, kiss my ass. Have a wonderful night, and touch grass, not yourself.
All right, go. Let's see here. Oh, 3-Bit, thank you so much for the last minute invitation. I'm glad you came through. Sorry for keeping you for so long. Yeah, you could have dipped out if it was too much, man. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, peeps can find me on Twitter, i3bit, YouTube, Pixelated Echoes. You guys are all invited, and see you guys later. Yeah, bye.
All right. And Singer, he had to leave, so shout out to him. And Slow-Mo, go ahead and do your outro.
Forte hit the DPS plug, so thank you, Forte. For myself, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your games. Star Wars sucks, Dune is awesome, and I'm out.
All right, catch y'all later. Thanks, everyone. I'm not watching anything. I know I said I was, but you already know what's up. Like, I'm a fraud in every respect. Okay, bye.